I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in their cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in ink and bleach. Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep. I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush.
I feel it in my head, my shoulders, knees and toes, my bones. Your music gets me through the highs and lows. My head, shoulders, knees and toes, my bones. You're keeping me from feeling all alone. I've been praying to 1,000 different stars, to 1,000 different arms, till I found you. I've been chasing by 1,000 different hearts, to 1,000 million hours. Now I found you. My nights will never be the same again. I got you running through my veins. I feel it in my head, my shoulders, knees and toes, my bones. Your music gets me through the highs and lows. My head, my shoulders, knees and toes, my bones. You keeping me from feeling all alone. You keeping me from feeling all alone. You keeping me from feeling all alone. Let me breathe you, take you down into my lungs, while we dance into the sun. Now that I found you, you're a part of me, now I can't let you go. You're the heartbeat of my soul, now that I found you. My nights will never be the same again. I got you running through my veins. I feel it in my head, my shoulders, knees and toes, my bones. Your music gets me through the highs and lows. My head, my shoulders, knees and toes, my bones. You keeping me from feeling all alone. You keeping me from feeling all alone. You keeping me from feeling all. I feel it in my head, my shoulders, knees and toes, my bones. Your music gets me through the highs and lows. My head, my shoulders, knees and toes, my bones. You keeping me from feeling all alone. You keeping me from feeling all alone. You keeping me from feeling all alone.
Take me in slow, breathe me in and let me go. Filling the lungs inside you, and the blackened eyes make my way into your mind. Just to know what you knew. Restless every time we start locking eyes. Lost control. Oh, it's paradise with honesty, but I'm in the dead of the night. Let the darkness take control. Let the darkness take control. Darkness take control. May the darkness take control. Take me in slow, breathe me in and let me go. Sink to your heart to find you. Open up up your eyes till you're blinded by the lies, so you can see what you do. Restless every time we start locking eyes. Lost control. Oh, it's paradise with honesty, but I'm in the dead of the night. Teardrops on the floor. The pain is over. Feel the darkness take control.
Fireflies, a million little pieces, feeds the dying light and brings me back to life. In your eyes, I see something to believe in. Your hands are like a flame, your palms are sweet as pain. Let the darkness lead us into the light. Let our dreams get lost, feel the temperature rise. Baby, tell me one more beautiful lie. One touch and I ignite, like a starship speeding into the night. You and I get lost in the infinite light. Baby, tell me one more beautiful lie. One touch and I ignite. One touch and I ignite. One touch and I ignite. So alive, your touch is like a daylight, burning on my skin. It turns me on again. You and I, survivors of the same kind, but we're the only ones dancing on the sun. Let the darkness lead us into the light. Let our dreams get lost, feel the temperature rise. Baby, tell me one more beautiful lie. One touch and I ignite, like a starship speeding into the night. You and I get lost in the infinite light. Baby, tell me one more beautiful lie. One touch and I ignite. One touch and I ignite. One touch and I ignite.
Diamonds are forever, but all we need is just tonight. A monumental tremors that can freeze the speed of light. Just like particles that's falling from heaven, all over the stars. Hear you calling for me, hear you calling me home from me.
Let the darkness lead us into the light. Let our dreams get lost, feel the temperature rise. Baby, tell me one more beautiful light. One touch and I ignite. I feel the heat as we collide, like a fever that feels alright. So baby, tell me one more beautiful light. One touch and I ignite. 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 One touch and
speed of light, I'm breaking down like this ain't nothing new. She wanna kick it, don't skip it, let's say we rendezvous. Usually I don't trick up, pick up like 1 or 2. Them daisies known to be deadly, especially if I love you. I'm grown and patient, I'm tired of waiting just for you. If we gon' trip, then we taking trips out to Malibu. My alley-oops, we returning troops from a blowing nuke. A bomb crash and I'm slow asking to tell the truth.
Taking off, yeah, I'll be on my way now. Feel it in the air, cause I'm in a better place now. I never doubt it, no I never doubt it. If you don't like that, leave it where you found it.
Yep. I ain't cutting that pie, I'm saving half for you. Yep. Yep. I ain't cutting that pie, I'm saving half for you.
Hey Taylor, I got you. I'm saving half for you cause I got it bad for you. Don't you ever trip about it, we can even passport it. You deserve it, you ain't even gotta ask for it. Life's a marathon and I wouldn't wanna fast forward. And for the love it was back and forth like tennis. Indy down to Atlanta like every weekend. No matter what we had on the schedule, progressing with every pedal. Momentum at speed of light, I need me like 20 medals, yes. Taking off, yeah, I'll be on my way now. Feel it in the air cause I'm in a better place now. I never doubt it, no I never doubt it. If you don't like that, leave it where you found it.
Break it down, nothing new. Let's say we rendezvous. 1 or 2, especially if I love you. Just for you. Trips out to Malibu. From a blowing loop.
Speed of light. Catch me. Catch me. Catch me. Speed of light.
Taking off, yeah, I'll be on my way now. Feel it in the air, cause I'm in a better place now. I never doubt it, no I never doubt it. I feel it in the air, cause I'm in a better place now. Taking off, yeah, I'll be on my way now. Feel it in the air, cause I'm in a better place now. I never doubt it, no I never doubt it. I feel it in the air, cause I'm in a better place now.
Speed of light.
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through eyes covered in ink and bleach. Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep. I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush. Take my eyes open to force reality. Why can't you just let me eat my weight in glee? I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in their cradles, profanities. Some days I feel skinnier than all the other days. Sometimes I can't tell if my body belongs to me. I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush.
Hello and welcome to day number 14 of the Howling eSports League, Season 1, presented by the Howling eSports organization. It is the final day of the regular season. The last playoff spot is on the line. First, we'll have a win or go home match between Probably Serbia and Monospa, with the winner taking on Fantastic eSports in a tiebreaker for third and fourth place. On the call, I am Carl Krieger, alongside my good friend and colleague, Brian Baymax Custer.
Carl, it was a fantastic introduction as always. Thank you so much. It's good to be here with you on the metaphorical and not physical casting desk. I wish we had a physical casting desk, but we don't. It's a little bit unfortunate. I guess we could, actually. We live pretty close together, but that's a little bit of a side tangent. We're looking at the standings. We got a playoff game. We're almost at a playoff game. This is the last game of the regular season today, right here, right now. We're looking at Monospa versus Kolyevina. These are the only two teams that are left in the league that are not either locked into playoffs or eliminated. Both tied up at a 7-6 record. You can take a look at the standings in front of you right now on your screen. This is it, right? Whoever wins this game, they are moving on to play the tiebreaker match later today, almost immediately after this game. And whoever loses, they are done for the season. That's it. Pack your bags, go home.
Yeah, absolutely. Basically, this first game almost is a playoff game, right? You know, it's that last chance to win and get in. The first game, I think, definitely more important than the second game. Of course, way more important to qualify for the playoffs than to have, you know, an ideal seed in those playoffs. So only Monospa and KS, only one of those can make the playoffs. Like you just said, Fantastic eSports waiting in the wings. They won their game against Lethal Rage. That actually had to be forfeited earlier today. Lethal Rage, an accidental name change. That does cost you game, folks, in this league. Doesn't matter if it's the first day or the last day. They're, of course, still locked into second place, but that did give Fantastic eSports, quite a fortunate situation qualifying them for the playoffs here, as we're 3 minutes away from this Champions Select. I am very excited for this game.
Yeah, we'll see. I noticed something interesting when going back over the last few VODs, the last two games that we've seen on stream on our Twitch channel here. All of these teams, all the teams that are going to be playing today, KS, Monospa, and Fantastic eSports, in recent history, they've all put a ton of priority in Shen. And Shen is a very strong top laner, but there's other strong top laners. Fiora is good, Camille is good, Darius is good, but it's been the Shen that has time and time again been first picked when available by these teams. Ever since, I think, patch 10-15, when he had a little bit of a buff come through on that shield on his passive. And so far, these teams have been able to sort of keep each other, or they haven't had to keep each other in check with that pick. They've had, varying levels of success with it, but they haven't really played each other all that much. They haven't had other people vying for that pick as much. Now that Monospa and Kolyevina are going against each other, we might see these sort of two very similar playstyles clash against each other in drafts and not be able to match up. Both these teams like to look for Shen Ashe or Shen Caitlyn if they're available. These big AD carries that are strong right now, try to get a strong AD carry to match up with that Shen. So you got that top laner that's strong to support the AD carry. Shen is a very good bodyguard for these AD carries, and as you know, we just hit the most recent patch 10-16 or 17? I'm losing it now. Whatever the most recent patch was, a bunch of AD carries got buffed. It was Kai'Sa is strong again. Xayah is very strong again. Varus got some love. I don't know if it's going to be enough to bump him into the meta, but he did get some love. Ashe has always been strong. She is still going to be strong. She didn't get nerfed. Caitlyn did get nerfed a little bit. I don't think it's going to be enough to knock her out. So we got at least 4 AD carries that are strong, that are good with Shen. I think both these teams are going to be trying to get their hands on that Shen pick. Other than that, it's going to be all about those AD carries in the first rotation of draft. Caitlyn, Ashe, Kai'Sa, Xayah, maybe Rakan as well. You were talking about how Xayah Rakan is sleeper OP, especially getting into these drafts a little bit more. We look at the players involved. We got the rosters on screen for you guys right now. Zonx and Nettie, these guys are both really strong AD carries. We can get away from the bot lane a little bit if you want to, because I've been rambling about it a lot, but count on seeing Xayah, Kai'Sa, Caitlyn, Ashe, Shen as well, supports maybe things like the Morgana, things like Karma. The jungle also, Graves, Olaf, these champions are still strong. They're probably going to be available because I expect to see bot lane priority. So Georgian Import and M6 are probably going to get what they want in the jungle, which would be maybe a Graves, maybe an Olaf. We'll have to sort of wait and see on that one.
We will indeed. I also want to shout out the Camille against Shen. That could be kind of a mainstay of the series, or things could get banned away, right? I think these teams will focus in one of the lanes with the bans. And so, maybe they're just going to ban out the junglers and say, hey, everybody just gets an OP AD carry, right? Or we're going to ban away the Shen and the Camille, pinch the top lane a little bit. So I think that will kind of come out at the very start of this draft where these teams want to be focusing, but I do think the AD carry pool, like you said, more diverse now, right? Caitlyn, Ashe, Kai'Sa, Ezreal still strong. The Xayah Rakan, I think, also strong. I don't think Xayah will be good enough without the Rakan, so watch for that duo coming through in the Champion Select, which we have run out of time, Baymax. It is time for the picks and bans in this game. Welcome to the Champion Select proper, and it is not what we talked about at all. It's the Yuumi, the first ban away.
Well, we'll see. You know, what might end up happening is with so many AD carries that are open, both teams know they're going to get at least one that is strong, and they're all strong, so that would make sense to not put too much priority on banning all those champions away. But there's the Caitlyn. Anyway, Caitlyn got banned. Zach got banned. Yuumi did see buffs. I think Yuumi is also one of Corinthians' preferred champions. I haven't checked the OPGGs in a while, but I do remember Kolyevina. I have it in my notes actually. The last time they played a match, they also banned Yuumi, so that might just be a pick that Zox and Warzone really hate going up against. One of their least comfortable matchups. They do first pick the Ashe though, which is obviously, we talked about it, one of those 4 very strong AD carries at the moment. I think maybe the strongest, right? Caitlyn got nerfed. Ashe was up there with the Caitlyn in terms of strength, and Ashe didn't get nerfed. So Ashe, one of the strongest AD carries for sure, but answered very quickly by a Senna for probably Netty, maybe Corinthians, and the Graves for Georgian Import as well.
Absolutely. I think KS really showing that they think Shen and Ashe are the 2 first pick worthy champions, banning away that Shen third man on blue side. Not something you would do if you want to first pick it. I think just not wanting that on the table. The Camille has now been banned out as well, so that top lane pool going to get pinched a little bit. We'll have to wait and see whether this Volibear is a Volibear top or in the jungle up against that Graves. I like the draft so far for KS. Galio, something we've seen a lot of priority on. Ashe, probably the strongest AD carry right now. I think really Monospa, the only thing they've really gotten back into power is Graves in the jungle, which to my mind just isn't as strong as the power that they're taking away.
I would agree, but important to remember is Graves is one of Georgian Import's favorite champions. He plays Graves a lot. He's very adept on Graves. We've seen him pick it to a lot of success in previous games Monospa has played. I am a fan of Georgian Import on Graves, more so than I am a fan of just Graves in general, although I do think Graves is a pretty strong pick. But like you said, I'm a little concerned about the other picks coming through. I think Senna is in a pretty good spot, but I don't know if she's strong enough to pick over something like Kai'Sa, who got really significant buffs, over something like an Ashe, which got first picked by Kolyevina. I think she's sort of a step below those picks. Top lane as well. It looks like we're going to have a Gragas top lane locked in for Monospa. Sort of an answer, a counter to the Jax, maybe, and it looks like it is a Volibear in the jungle, to answer your question from a little bit earlier. Do you have any insight onto this matchup? I think the rationale might be, Jax is good against auto attack reliant champions because he got the counter strike. You want something that is ability reliant to go up against him, to match up against him, so that he can't block out all your damage with that E. And Gragas is an ability reliant champion, but I don't know for sure. That seems a little bit interesting.
To my mind, once you're past the 1.5, 2 items, to my mind, I would see the Jax winning this duel in just a straight-up 1v1, because I don't think that Legionnaire will have the damage to take him down through that ultimate magic resist, plus maybe he goes play the Rune King Trinity Force. I think that's just too much damage for the Gragas. Sure, he might go tank as well. Jax just excels against this kind of like bruiser-style champion. He is one himself, and is very, very strong at it. I also like the Jax against the triple auto-attack threat from Monospa, right? Georgian Import, I Can Be Happy, and Neodai, all auto-attack reliant basically completely. This Counter-Strike could have a lot of value in this game, and I think as long as resting in top doesn't get behind, that this will be a strong pick for them. Maybe he'll get punished in the early game, just get bullied a little bit by Legionnaire, he can interrupt the jump, the leap strike, but I don't imagine that this is totally Gragas' favorite in any way.
Well, I definitely agree. I think Legionnaire could have pressure early. That might be all Monospa need. Monospa have scaling from the rest of their team, right? Corki scales very well. Senna scales very well. Graves scales very well. Gragas scales well in terms of utility, but not in terms of the 1v1. But Manaspa, if they have scaling lanes elsewhere, they might just need sort of a rock in the top lane to keep them alive through the early game. And I definitely can believe that Agragas would bully Ajax early on. Resting in top, like we said, he's playing a champion that excels against auto attack reliant champions. Later on to the game, I think you're right. Once he's got the Bork finished, once he's got a Triforce or those consistent DPS items, Legionnaire just won't be able to stand up to the amount of DPS and the amount of sustain that Jax is going to bring to a fight, to a skirmish. But early on, for sure, that healing isn't there yet, the damage isn't there yet, the resistance from Jax's ultimate isn't there yet, and Gragas' base damage early on is pretty high. He's actually a bit of a lane bully himself in those early levels. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes, but I do think the rest of the map is not going to be nearly as favorable early on for Manaspa, right? Corki mid lane, probably going to get shoved in by a Galio. Certainly not as strong at skirmishing in the river or around jungle objectives early on as Galio is. Galio Air 4 is going to have that hero's entrance available. He's going to have the Justice Punch. He's going to be able to get onto these immobile champions that Manaspa have, or the close range champions that Manaspa have. Whether it's the Graves. The Graves is short range. The Senna is immobile. All viable targets for a Galio to jump on top of. Bot lane as well. It's an Ashe Rakan. That's a lot of lane pressure. That's a lot of engage also. Kraljevan are going to be really good at forcing team fights if they want to take them, right? They have the Ashe Arrow from Zox. They've got the quickness from Warazar. And then they've got a Galio to Hero's Entrance on top of that Rakan once he goes in and charms your whole team. Everyone's just going to get knocked up twice. Everyone is going to be really feeling that hurt. And Senna doesn't have that much lane pressure early. Corki doesn't have that much lane pressure early. Manaspa are going to struggle to control the bottom half of the map in those early moments of the game. And that might be the window Kraljevan need to sort of take this win.
I certainly agree. That was basically the same point I was going to make. I don't see any winning lane right now for Manaspa. In terms of pressure, in terms of kills, in terms of anything, really, I don't really see them having a shove in any of these lanes. Neodai and Corinthians, I think, are going to get bullied very, very hard by Zox and Warazar. How do you get on the Ashe, right? You have to land a hook. That doesn't seem very likely. Warazar is there to block it up with the E, can dash back to Zox. I'm just not seeing anything working out in the early game for Manaspa. Now, they do scale relatively well. Corki late game, Neodai late game on the Senna. Both of those champions scale fantastically well. So I think there's hope if they can get later on. But I think the engage, I think the combos from KS are going to be too strong for them. They have a lot of engage. You can, Hero's Entrance can go on Jax. Hero's Entrance can go on the Rakan. Hero's Entrance can go on the Volibear. All of those champions could end up in the backline if they have Flash with their movement abilities as well. And so I think the Wombo combo from KS may be a little bit too much for Manaspa to avoid early on in the game, and I don't think they'll be able to scale.
Well, we got a Crozo in chat vouching for the Gragas in that lane in top lane, and Gragas is good against Jackson. I could definitely get behind that, especially early on in the game. So we'll have to wait and see how that matchup goes. But I would say we can expect at least one winning lane early on from Manaspa. We can look to the top lane, look to Legionnaire. He picked Gragas for some reason, right? It was the last pick. It was an answer to the Jax. So I trust him. I trust Manaspa. I trust that they would get that winning lane if they can. They counterpicked for a reason, but we'll have to wait and see.
Certainly will. Also, this is the winner go home, right? Winners in the playoffs, loser goes home. So I don't think this is the time you pick anything that you're not practiced on, you're not confident on. No chance that this Gragas is just, hey, let's try Gragas out. Certainly, there has to be some rationale behind it that is quite strong, or I don't think Manaspa would have picked it. Sure, early game, I think that could be relatively strong, but top side of the map tends to not be as important as bot side. Maybe you can get the Herald, but if you're losing a couple of dragons for it, I think KS will be well on their way to winning. By the 12-minute mark, maybe Manaspa, they have a little bit of a CS lead top and they got one Herald, while KS has a couple of kills bot and 2 dragons. I think you have to favor KS on that one.
I would agree, although the scaling for Manaspa is very strong. Right, we talked about it. Senna scales very well. Corki scales very well. Graves scales very well. And Senna is, I feel like, Senna's damage can actually kind of fall off later on to the game, but her utility, her setup for fights, and her kiting is so very strong. Once you get 60, 80, 100 souls, you have that ridiculous range. You've got presumably the Frozen Mallet. I would guess this is a Frozen Mallet grasp Senna. It could also be Glacial Augment Senna, which also brings crazy utility to fights and is viable probably a little bit earlier on into the game. And has equally good scaling, if not more so. You're typically going to go for a Mana Moon into more of a damage heavy build if you're going to go for that sort of for the Glacial Augment style of play. So the late game options for Manaspa are there and they're strong. And Kraljevan they have their own late game options as well. Jack's a strong late game, Ash is a strong late game, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to deal with the incredible amount of range that Ascena is going to bring to the game, right? Because all the champions that Corellia are going to have are relatively short range. They don't have any real long range engage options other than the Ash arrow, which is okay. You know, it's not great. It's fine for making picks, but really, I think of it as being sort of it's sort of up in the air. It's sort of a dice roll on whether or not that actually gives you the pick that you want. And especially with a pretty heavy front line, assuming it's a tank Gragas, assuming it's a tank Thresh, a pretty heavy front line for Manaspa, it might be hard to find that pick.
Absolutely. We are now on to the Rift in this best of one. Win or go home between Crowley and Serbia on the blue side, MON on the red. We are now on to the Rift. Past the cool cinematic. That is always very, very fun to see. Thank you very much to our production team here. Could not be happier with that. Mirroring the Corgi's name. I can be happy. I can be happy with the production around here. And yeah, it's working out. Bit of a 5-point start for everybody. It looks like the Senna is going to be Glacial Augment. I like this a lot more. I think this will be a Manamune into Rapid Fire Cannon, probably into Lethality build for Neodai here. I think the support Senna does like to go for that Grass build. I think that is pretty strong, but in the AD carry position, the Glacial Augment just a little bit more common, I do feel, and I think it provides a lot more damage and actual carry potential later on in the game. So I like to see that. I also like to see the Cleanse. I think that is pretty much required on this Senna.
I agree. Cleanse so undervalued in a lot of teams. Not from Manaspa. Pick it up for Neodai. Very excellent choice. I like it a lot versus Nashiro, versus a Grand Entrance and the quickness and all the crowd control that Corellia are bringing to the table. Cleanse there's a lot of value there. I also want to take a step back and sort of look at the mid lane rather than the bot lane. We talked a little bit about the Gallia. We didn't talk about the Corki very much. I mentioned it briefly as sort of a scaling option that's open and available to Manaspa. I want to talk about it in the context of this player because I can be happy. He's not the sort of player that actually he doesn't have a lot of Corki in his match history. I'll put it that way. He doesn't play champions like the Corki very often. His most played champions are Twisted Fate and Zed and Syndra, Orianna, and LeBlanc. And we saw him pick LeBlanc just the last game before this one. The last game Manaspa played, I forget who it was against, but it was I Can Be Happy on that LeBlanc. Didn't actually do that well, but that's sort of the style of champion that he generally trends towards. Corki is a little bit different from that. Corki is a little bit slower, less priority or less proactivity early on, less ability to make plays and set up for that. And so, this might be something you were talking about maybe not changing things up that last game before playoffs. Manaspa might have done that a little bit. They might be trying to mess around with this mid lane, see what works and what doesn't, see if they can find a scaling option from their mid laner.
Potentially something that got played in scrims also, right? There's not a lot of solo queue necessarily, but if you're playing in scrims, you can be very, very practiced on it without the other team really being quite as aware. So we'll see how it works out for I Can Be Happy. It is just a lot different playstyle. We're going to hold that bot to fight in the top lane. These are nice body slams to deny the counter strike. M6 putting in a little bit of damage on this Gragas, but he escaped with his life.
Escaped with his life. Did have to flash though, which that's a very important cooldown for a Gragas to have. He's going to have, especially when he's already been ganked once by a Jax and a Volibear that both still have flash. So expect M6 to maybe spend some more time around the top half of the map, and he's already getting aggressive, feeling strong, getting in Georgian Import's face, trying to take those Raptors away. I'm not sure if he actually got any. I think Georgian Import might have secured them all, or at least the big ones. And okay, so no harm done there. In fact, he's actually up a pretty significant amount of CS on M6. It's 12, now 16 to 20. But M6 looking like he might want to pay another visit to this top side of the map and punish Legionnaire if he can get the chance.
Might be trying to just go for a little bit of a wrap around on this one. Wrestling his top needs to land the counter-strike, and I do feel if they want to go for the kill. But as he's waiting this time, he is getting farther and farther behind. Georgian Import going to go for the invade as well. MONaSpa's bot lane moving up at the same time. A lot of pressure in this bot side jungle for MONaSpa right now. The fight in the bot side as well. Decent amount of damage taken as we missed it up in the top lane. The gank was successful. Probably a flash stun from M6. Maybe we can see a replay of that one, but very successful.
I was gonna say M6 has got to get something with this gank. We saw him spending so much time around the top half of the map. It was pretty from our end, it was pretty telegraphed that he was gonna go for that gank, and he had to, right? Because like you said, Georgian Import was getting ahead in farm, was counter jungling him, already full cleared his own jungle, or mostly full cleared it, and even still, you can see 28 CS to 16. If M6 had pulled off that gank successfully, he would be in a really bad spot. Even that he did get the gank successfully, he's still down a lot of CS. He didn't get the kill. He didn't get the gold from the kill. He didn't get as much experience as Georgian Import got. So Restic and Top got ahead. That's good. That's excellent for Koyevina. Let's see what else they can get out of that. Because M6 is going to be a little bit behind now. Doesn't have flash, can't make plays elsewhere, and I'm wondering if Legionnaire might still have a strong time, have a winning matchup in that top lane. Because I think Gragas does win against Jax early. Even if Jax gets a kill, that might change things around a little bit, but I'm not really sure. I'm not familiar with this matchup. Anyway, regardless, Koyevina starting up this dragon. They feel strong. They got pressure, but teleport coming through. They're not going to get up easy.
This is going to be the Galio on the teleport. A nice dark passage from Corinthians to get Georgian Import out of that situation. They're just going to have to concede this dragon. KS coming up huge in the early game so far. 1 kill and the objective.
Teleport from Air 4. I wasn't actually sure whose teleport that was when I saw it. When I called it, now Air 4 going in mid lane. He's got a taunt.
Taunt lands onto I Can Be Happy. Warzar looking for the E into the grand entrance. He's just not able to find the range. I Can Be Happy running himself away. Has flash, and he should be able to get to the blast cone. I expect him to be just fine. The knockup, though, maybe on the blast cone, going to come over the wall with Air 4. A lot of damage traded. Flash may have to be expended. Flash, and the taunt from Air 4 over the wall is Warzar. Legionnaire here, though, to provide a little bit of safety to his mid laner. Q thrown out from Warzar, not going to be enough. Air 4 still charging for this is a 4 versus 2. We could see the tower dive come through. No teleports are available to help out on this play. Just trying to find a bit of solace under the tower. Legionnaire trying to clear out the minions, but he's not going to be able to do so. The dive is going to come through. That's the taunt and the counter-strike coming down. Could it be the one-stun? Yes, it is. Corki is dead. I Can Be Happy. More like I Can Be Dead. He's no longer on the scene. Double kill now for the Jax. That's a 3-0 Jax. Beautifully juggled tower aggro. Everybody survives for KS.
A well-executed tower dive. Now looking to the bot lane, though, Georgian Import is trying to pull something off. He's trying to make something happen on the other side of the map. He's in the tri-bush. Zonks is very far forward.
Zonks is alone. Virtually no chance to escape this, I would say. Now he's going to try to go for the fight. Potentially has both summoners, but I don't think it's worth using them here. You're not going to be escaping. The dash forward, Neodai able to secure that with the Q. Zonks goes down.
Yeah, very well played by Koyevina on that top half of the map, but Zonks, a little bit too aggressive, right? You got to assume that if your team is dedicating so many resources somewhere so far away from you, you're going to get punished for that if you put yourself in a position to be punished for that. And he was in a position to be punished for that. So he was. A nice punish from Georgian Import, but still, like you said, 3 kills to 1 in favor of Koyevina. And they're all on resting in top. And this is the one lane that we expected Manaspa to have priority in, to have a little bit of a lead in. And resting in top is just, I imagine that any sort of a lead that Legionnaire would have had is going to be gone. He shouldn't be able to have pressure in this lane anymore. This is a ridiculous lead.
Hook landing, though, in the mid lane. Decent amount of damage onto Airport, under about half HP. Corki coming in with the Valkyrie as well, but that's the hero's entrance. Going to go for a bit of a knock-up and the disengage. Georgian Import now isolated off from his team. Dark Passage goes down. Not sure he's going to be able to find that one. Just running himself away. M6 charging forward. Lightning going to miss. Neodai here as well. Flash burned by Georgian Import. Just a little bit too concerned for his safety. One summoner down.
Air 4 hits level 6 almost instantly. Koyevina look to skirmish again with that hero's entrance, and they find another flash from Georgian Import. So he is on the back foot. Manaspa on the back foot once again. Neodai sort of stuck under his turret as we expected, not able to help out with that skirmish. And so far, you were right. The early game control of the map is definitely in favor of Koyevina, but Manaspa have been sort of hanging on. The gold gap is actually not ridiculous. Despite the 3 kills to 1, the gold is almost exactly even, and I think that's due to primarily CS differences in the mid and bot lane. I Can Be Happy and Neodai both with pretty strong CS showings, 65 each at only 8 minutes in. That is what you want to see if you're Manaspa, right? You got these scaling champions that need items to come online. Really strong CS numbers on those champions are very important to have so that they can get to that late game relatively early on in the match. Although I Can Be Happy might be about to find himself in some trouble here. Warzar only level 4, does not have the grand entrance, but is hanging around mid lane. Or doesn't have the quickness, but is hanging around mid lane trying to make something happen. Air 4, though, going to whiff the Justice Punch. HP a little bit low, and nobody is going to get anything just yet.
Yeah, not a lot coming out of that one. Nice Valkyrie away from I Can Be Happy, realizing he could be in trouble. And I do agree, I think the scaling champions are doing very well. The only champion not doing well is the early game champ. Kind of ironically up in the top lane. Legionnaire has been bullied a little bit. This Jax is very...
fair to him, he's been ganked a lot. He's had some company up there.
Yeah, he has. It's been kind of a party in the top lane, but resting in top, very close to that Blade of the Ruin King, and I think once that comes through, if there's not a whole lot more in terms of build from Legionnaire, he is just going to start getting smashed in the 1v1. I do think Blade of the Ruin King a very strong item. Resting in top might be getting baited right now. A nice jump away. Sees Georgian Import at the last second.
Yeah, strong leap strike there. That was a very good read from Resting in top. And now it's M6 who's looking for a counter gank. I think that KS definitely win this 2v2.
That is the counter-strike. Not going to land onto anybody. Georgian Import actually going to get stunned up. That was a nice jump. Oh, and the arrow from downtown. Zonx providing a bit of support, getting an assist for himself. Legionnaire now has to get himself out of this situation. Body slam has flash as well. He's going to escape, but it is 1 kill more for KS.
Now, well played by M6, but I think that's a bit of a misstep from Georgian Import. You generally don't want to play around the losing side of the map unless you know where the enemy jungler is, because you're going to lose the 2v2 if he shows up, and that's exactly what happened. And now with Herald in M6's pocket getting dropped by Kolyevina, going to take out the first car, the second, third, fourth plates here from this top lane turret. Almost going to go down when that Herald crashes. So top lane turret getting very, very low. Resting on top, though, probably a little bit low on the HP bar to actually do anything about it. Might have to recall and reset before that turret is eventually going to go down. But that turret, especially when turret plates fall, is just sort of waiting to go down. Manaspa, however, on the other side of the map, are going to get a little bit aggressive and trade away a dragon for that Herald drop top lane. I think that was a very strong answer, actually. Getting those dragons early on, very, very big for delaying a win from Kolyevina. I've seen a little bit of a replay. The Ash Arrow flying all the way from downtown, from that bot side of the map, dropped by the one and only Zonx himself, straight into Georgian Import after he ate that Counter-Strike stun, and he was just done. That was it. That was all she wrote.
Absolutely. I don't really know if the arrow did a whole lot. Provided a little bit of damage. I don't think Georgian Import was surviving anyway, but it gives Zonx the assist, which I think is good to get the spot lane a little bit back into the game. They've kind of been a little bit flat thus far. Warzar behind an XP just a bit. Actually just hits level 6, so I don't know what I'm talking about. But the quickness is now available. Air Force spotted, though, so I don't think the engage is going to be coming through.
That's a nice little bit of a cheeky deep ward there, dropped by Corinthians, I think, or maybe Neodai. I'm not sure which one it was, but a nice ward to spot out the roam down there from Air 4. And keep in mind, KS are a team that are pretty reliant on their ultimates to start really getting things rolling in this mid game. The hero's entrance is big. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow is big. The quickness from Warzar. I keep thinking Grand Entrance. The quickness from Warzar is big. These are all massive team fighting ultimates, which KS are probably going to want to sort of be together for, right? They're going to want to have 3, 4, 5 members alive and near the fight, ready to pick a fight if they're going to want to start investing those big cooldowns. And so vision control from Manaspa, keeping tabs on where Air 4 is and where M6 is and where Warzar is. That vision control is very important towards maintaining some amount of control on this map.
Valkyrie getting away from that Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Flash over the wall has to be expended as well by I Can Be Happy, keeping himself alive. Summoner is down, however, and I would just like to agree with you. Grand Entrance sounds like it should be the name of the ultimate. It just sounds like an ultimate name. The quickness, it just doesn't scream ultimate at you, although they make sense given what the abilities do. It just, something seems so wrong about that, so I definitely do agree with you there. Resting in top, taking some punishment in the top lane. Warzar is here, though, and the party is going to commence once again. Legionnaire likely going to get charmed up at some point. There's the charm. There's the stun. Ignite is down onto him. He's going to be going down. Dawning Shadow a little bit too late. I Can Be Happy teleporting in, and he is in a very sticky situation off of that one. Air 4 just walked himself up. I Can Be Happy. No way he's getting out of this situation. Warzar and Air 4 on the charge. That's the Grand Entrance. Who will they give the kill over to? Might be resting in top. They might just have to take the kill at some point. Looks like the Jack's not going to be able to secure it. Air 4 coming up with that one.
That's fine. I think as long as the Rakan doesn't get his second kill of the game, like, give it to somebody else, anybody else. Galio, totally fine. Although, that was a long time that KS spent running down. I Can Be Happy in that top side, and Manaspa's bot lane, Georgian Import showing up here, putting in some work on this turret, getting 3 plates for himself and Neodai. Although they're getting teleported on, this could be a big fight.
We may see a fight once again. Not a lot of ultimates available. The double TP. Neodai left out to dry. Can he get 2? Oh, what a great play by Air 4 to stop the Dark Passage. Flash from Resting in top as well to secure the other kill on the bot laner. Bot lane goes down from Manaspa.
The 2 for nothing. Just when I thought Manaspa were getting something on the map, getting that turret plating gold for themselves, Kolyevina punish with a nice double teleport. Air 4 and Resting in top coming up pretty big there. And now Manaspa are losing some turret plates of their own. It's not even over yet, though. Georgian Import
just isn't able to move. Finally goes for the flash. I think he'll get himself away. But Summoner's being blown constantly. Zonx, the arrows are very much on point. Playing very well on the weak side. M6 in the mid lane has to use the Stormbringer to get himself away. I Can Be Happy exerting a little bit of pressure.
I thought Georgian Import was dead. I am sorry. I thought he was going to go down there. Although Air 4 might be going down. I'm not sure who's going down here, actually.
We are just going in for the full distance on the Fighting Warazar. Supportal Combat picking up the kill onto Corinthians. Air 4 now trying to get himself away. M6 on the way to this situation, but does not have that ultimate. Remember, Zonks, though. Georgian Import now in all sorts of trouble. Going to get stunned up. M6 keeping himself alive. Teleport coming through, but Air 4 has used the hero's entrance. Legionnaire so low to be teleporting into this one. Whiffs the body slam. He's going to be going down. You have to feel Air 4. There's the auto attack. Should have some abilities coming through very shortly. We'll have to wait and see. Zonks killing the Corki off in the mid lane as well, as it is all coming up. Krajavina right now, 5,000 gold lead, 13-1 in the kills. They're in full control.
Yes, it's so, the sad thing for Manaspa is so many low health parts on Kolyevina, right? A lot of these fights are close to going well for Manaspa, but they just can't make those kills actually connect and come through, and I think that's partially due to these early game center or the late game scaling champions that just don't have the early game damage to make those kills come through. Things like the Senna, things like the Corki, these guys, Neodai and I Could Be Happy, are just struggling to really have an impact in these fights in a big way, and it's causing Manaspa to come up just short of making things happen, of finding kills of their own, of finding trades, of finding some semblance of map pressure. But like you said, 13-1, those kills aren't coming through. Kolyevina are in full control right now. They found themselves a 5,000 gold lead 15 minutes in. That has absolutely ballooned from nothing in the past 5 to 7 minutes. And they have full control of the map. They have great vision control of Manaspa's jungle. Everybody is strong. There's a nice even kill spread as well. No one person is ridiculously fed. Everybody in KS is pretty strong. Ooh, death sentence.
Fight, however, package already had to be used by I Can Be Happy, but M6 taken so low. Will he survive? Looks like he will, but a lot of pressure gained there by Monospa. They had to use the package and some ultimates. They do force out the jungler of KS.
Dragon spawning, both teams starting that all-important dragon dance up. Importantly, Manaspa did manage to get their hands on the second dragon, which will delay any sort of a dragon soul from Kolyevina. But they're checking the fight.
Could be the engage under Neodai, taken very low very quickly at the start of this one. E popped from him to get a little bit of movement speed and the Shroud away, resting in top, trying to defend his pink ward. Not going to be working out for him. Counter-Strike goes down. Is he going to go for the engage? 1 versus 4. Might be a little bit too ham. Decides to pull off from that one. M6 arriving back from the base at full health. Chaos, I think they've won this Dragon Dance. They are the victors, and they should get the Dragon as their prize.
I want to point out, though, Manaspa, like we mentioned earlier, their carries are farming well, right? 135 CS each on I Can Be Happy and Neodai. They're about 20 CS ahead of their laners. And both of them have picked up their Mana Moon. Both of them have got that all-important scaling item stacking relatively early on. So once that gets stacked up, once we see that transformation come through, these guys will start to be a little bit stronger, and we already see them starting to come online a little bit. I'm a little bit worried that KS might get outscaled before they pick up that 4th dragon, because Manaspa managed to get their hands on that 2nd dragon of the game, on that Cloud Dragon. But honestly, I think I'm grasping at straws for Manaspa, because KS has such a strong lead right now. It's difficult to see a world where Manaspa can hang on that long. We'll have to wait and find out. But for now, 2nd Herald is spawned on the map, getting prioritized, gunned down here by Zonks and M6. KS taking their, fourth, I think 4th big jungle objective of the game, their 2nd Herald. And so Manaspa are definitely feeling the pressure right now. They had no hope of responding to that Herald take.
Do like that picture-in-picture, the tower shot across the map on a Legionnaire. He's got more problems than that right now. He's going down once again. Zonks on a killing spree.
Zonks on a killing spree. The side lane as well, we saw in that replay, resting in top is absolutely popping off. And now, keep in mind, Zonks and M6 just picked up this Herald. They just got a kill on the top side of the map. That's probably a top lane inner tower about to fall. There goes the Herald getting dropped by M6. Manaspa's base getting broken into here, and they're not even winning on the other side of the map. Air 4 and resting in top just dominating this bot side of the map. The rest of KS is dominating the top side of the map. Manaspa just cannot get a foothold anywhere right now.
Only 2 defenders as well. This Herald could get another charge off. They decide to pull away from that, so I don't think it will on that inhibitor turret, but just dominating map state right now for KS. Corinthians could be in some trouble if they decide to go for this fight. 3 versus 3. Corki on the way to make it a 4 versus 3. Double root goes down with the Senna W. They are taking some damage. Warzone and M6 having to use the ultimate from that Volibear to get themselves away, but no real harm, no real foul on that one. KS still looking quite strong. They are going to escape.
I want to point out something a bit interesting. GLP has been picked up for Legionnaire, and he does not have Glacial Augment. He does have Phase Rush, so that's a bit of a curious first item for a Gragas top. I'm not sure what I expected from a first item from a Gragas top, but it probably wasn't this. maybe you're out of ages or something, but I don't hate it, actually. GLP is an item that is strong in the meta right now. It's seen a lot of priority. The utility is very good at slowing down these sort of engaged champions that Kolyevina have, the Jax, the Volleybirds, sort of trying to keep them at arm's length and away from your carries. I don't hate the GLP, but I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think the GLP would have been better if he'd completed it 10 minutes ago and wasn't 0-5. Right, so I think the item is strong. I think it's just a little bit slow right now, you know, literally and figuratively. But it just isn't packing enough of a punch, right? It doesn't have enough AP. It doesn't have enough utility right now because it is so much later in the game. That's kind of his main contribution to the teamfight is his ultimate and that GLP. Would have done a lot more damage 10 minutes ago. I think it's just a little bit too slow for the game state right now. I don't think the item itself is like bad or the purchase is bad. I just don't think it's very useful right now.
Well, I would agree with that. But still, it is an item spike. Important to keep tabs on those as good as we can. 15-1 in kills, though. Like you said, I don't know if it matters. And Enchanted Crystal Arrow mid lane forcing Georgian Imports flash, but he should be just fine. The mid lane turret is not, however, just fine. Going to get picked up by Zonx. Kolyevina finally asserting their control over the middle of the map as well as the side lanes.
Both bot lane ultimates were used for that play, so a little bit expended, but once again, burning Georgian Import's flash. He has not had that summoner for the majority of this game. Getting burned time and time again.
Getting a lot of value out of it.
Could be a flank right now, but Zonx, I think, is going to be just fine. Has flash as well. Nice job to get away from that explosive cast teleport coming in. This is going to be a full 5 versus 5 package across the back. That's a lot of damage. A nice zone control as well. But resting in top is doing just fine in the back. Grandmaster's Might has been procced. He's so tanky. A nice double taunt coming through as well from Air 4 and a fantastic Hero's Entrance. Monospot have nothing to do but just run for the hills. Grand Entrance coming through. Double kill now for the Jax. Resting in top. Finally going to get shut down by Legionnaire. That's a nice bit of gold in his pocket, but it's a 2 versus 4. The re-engage maybe coming through for Monospot. These health bars are very, very low. That's 1 kill picked up with the Rockets. I can be happy finding that one. Legionnaire going in for a little bit more, but I don't think it's going to be a whole lot there for him. 3 for 2 in favor of Chaos, but not the dominating team fight we might have expected.
A 3 for 2, but I think you take those if you're Monospa. If you're a team that's down 15-1, a 3 for 2 looks just fine. You'll take those. Not a bad engage, forcing Zonx's flash right away at the start of the fight. A teleport in from I Can Be Happy forces a split fight with a nice package, and suddenly Air 4 is caught out, forced to retreat on the backline. Resting and top goes in pretty deep, taking some damage, but the Hero's Entrance is there to keep him alive. But look at the kiting that can come through from I Can Be Happy and Georgian Import. It's just Kolyevina that cannot actually land the damage. I think it was fine until I'm forgetting his name. Until Jax went too far forward. I'm so sorry to the Jax, but until he went too far forward there, dove that turret, took that turret shot. I think that was a fine fight from Kolyevina, but after that point, he gets shut down, loses all that shutdown gold, and resting in top. I think that was a pretty big misstep, actually. But no harm, no foul, I suppose. Kolyevina, they still technically win the fight, and they still have control over the map. They move down to this dragon as soon as they are all alive again, and they are more than comfortable with taking it with their vision control that they have, and Monospa aren't really able to answer in any sort of meaningful way. So, Kolyevina is still with their 3rd dragon of the game, starting to pressure that all-important Dragon Soul, and Monospa still pretty far behind, although we do see fully stacked Mana Moons coming through on Neodai and on I Can Be Happy. So starting to hit those big item spikes we were talking about, these guys are going to hurt a little bit more than they did a few minutes ago.
Package also is crucial in that fight from I Can Be Happy. Zonx lost more than half his health just to that. Other members taking a little bit as well in the slow. So I think without that, Monospot is a lot harder pressed to win a fight. That was an incredible usage of that from I Can Be Happy. Able to get himself away as well. Mermanas are completed, though. You mentioned that a second ago. That does add a lot of damage to both of these carries. It's a very, very efficient item once it is finally stacked up. So I think there's a little bit more hope than there was 2 minutes ago for Monospot, but I don't think there's still a ton of hope left in the tank. Baron now started up for Chaos. How do you test this through Monospot?
I don't know if you can. Contest. It looks like they're going to try, though. Corinthians hanging under the pit. A little bit of vision control for Monospa. I Can Be Happy. Looks like he's going for something here. Georgian Import might go over the wall. They feel like they have to back off. Yeah, they aren't quite comfortable enough to take this fight just yet. I think they probably could have, but, not great vision control of the area. Got to get that pit swept out. Got to get the outside the pit swept out. Get some vision control established. Get some pink wards down. And KS can maybe look to try that again, but I don't hate them backing out there, right? Because right now, Dragon Soul is probably the most important objective for them on the map. It's not on the map yet, but it will be. And probably the only way Kolyevina, or the easiest way they could throw that objective away is certainly by losing a Baron fight. So maybe take the Baron fight after you get your hands on that Dragon Soul is not the most terrible idea I've ever heard.
Taking a 50-50 there, just not necessary. If you are Chaos, even if it's like a 70-40, you don't want to risk that. They know they're so far ahead. Legionnaire going to try to go for an engage onto Resting in top, who might just fight back. Corinthians is here as well. This is a 2 versus 3. Grandmaster's Might has been procced. That's the counter strike. Gonna find the stun onto Corinthians. It's 2 versus 2 now. Here's Hundreds comes through. Running Shadow for a bit of shielding onto Corinthians, but the Jax is not going to be deterred. Resting in top, picking up that 1 kill. Might find the taunt as well. Legionnaire flashing himself away from Air 4 on that Justice Punch. Arrow just coming by to say hi. A little bit late in that fight, but this Jax ripping Monospa apart.
70-40, Carl. I'm not sure that that's how math works, but I won't dwell on it too long, as we got some fighting happening on the map. A nice pick onto Corinthians from Kolyevina, and I don't think that fight was actually going to turn into anything, but it did. A little bit of a commitment there from Monospa, turning into a hero's entrance from Air 4, and all of a sudden, somebody is dead at 19-3, and now, back onto Barrett, go Kolyevina. They said we got a pick. We weren't comfortable with this before, but we are now. I could be happy, though. Yeah, he's sitting on that package. No vision in the pit. There's the ward. Is he going to look for something? He doesn't have a stopwatch. He's not going to be safe for this.
He is going to go in, though. That's the package across the back, but he gets stunned up immediately, having to evaporate himself away. Stormbreaker comes through. That did not quite work out like he was envisioning when he went over that wall, but Georgian Import is still here. This could still be a 70-40, as I'm saying. I mean, hey, it makes sense to me. And once again, Chaos going to pull off of that Baron. They're just not willing to take that risk.
They're not willing to take the risk, and I think that's smart, but they're still getting advantages, right? They're getting advantages in the side lane, where Resting in top is left into a 1v1, where Legionnaire can definitely not stand up to him. They're getting advantages in the pit, right? They forced the package from I Can Be Happy. They also forced a death out of I Can Be Happy. That's a win. Even if you don't pick up the Baron, that's more gold in your pockets, that's more control on the map, and guess what? Whenever you want to, you can go right back onto that Baron, because you can do that. You have the pressure, you have the vision control, you can threaten that. Resting in top is in the side lane, unanswered, he's taking turrets for free. I think KS definitely, do the same thing again if you want to. Don't commit to this, just buy time, get that turret bot lane, you can loot the dragon, but there's only 2 members of Monospa here, they can look for this.
Yeah, both carries are gone. They're in the side lanes trying to deal with Resting in top, who is so strong. He still has flash. Not too sure how that's working out, but I Can Be Happy is taking a lot of damage. So has Neodot. He had to flash away. Not going to be working out for him. Flash over the wall. Georgian Import. Can he get access to the pit? Yes, he can. He's in the pit. Dragon Baron very low. It goes over to Chaos. Not the steal we were hoping to see on the side of Monospa. As it looks like Resting in top is going to escape in this spot, and this could be quite a long chase. Legionnaire trying to find the kill onto Ward. Team teleport from I Can Be Happy, going to be joining this fray. Has those home guards coming through. Jack's still alive somehow. Not entirely sure what the tale to be told is here, but he is going to escape. Maybe looking to go for the re-engage onto Legionnaire, who now could find himself in a little bit of trouble. Healing up, that is just insane. So much lifesteal, back over half HP, as Chaos now very clearly set to win this game. They're up almost 13,000 gold. They got the Baron, and the side lane is just completely in their favor. We may have lost Baymax. Baymax, are you here?
I'm here. I'm sorry. I left myself muted and I forgot about it. What was I saying? They knock out the Baron. They're about to knock out the Dragon Soul also. And like you said, the side lane is ridiculously Resting in top favor. He's popping off on this Jax. He got a kill onto Neodot in like a 1v3 and then still got out somehow. I'm not sure how. I wish we could replay on that. I don't know if we can, though. It's been a long time. But regardless, he was popping off in that side lane. Meanwhile, Kolyevina, they're getting the Baron. They're getting that in-lane mid-air turret. They get this Dragon Soul as well. And you saw how quickly Resting in top was able to lifesteal off that Gromp and get right back in the fight. It doesn't even matter if he gets chunked very low. As long as he stays alive, he's got a Death's Dance. He's got a Blade of the Rune King, a Wit's End. He is very hard to kill, and he does a lot of damage. He is 11-1 on this Jax. Nearly unstoppable, right? And with Baron buff in the pockets of KS, that mid-lane inhibitor turret is looking awfully low.
Absolutely. I think we're going to see the combined push come through. Resting in top, just a couple of auto attacks. Time to kill the Stormbreaker. We're going to go for the full dive. This could be the game-ending fight right now. A nice quickness as well. Double charm onto that one. Double kill for Resting in top. They are running over the map 3 for 0 in this fight. The Baron buff is on. The Mountain Soul is on. They are pushing on to the Nexus Towers. And Kolyevina Serbia, congratulations to them. They qualify for that last playoff spot. They will be taking on Fantastic eSports for the 3rd versus 4th seed. Those late season roster changes, Baymax, they really did come up trump Chaos winning the game over Monospa.
Yes, they secure the playoff spot, but Monospa not quite so lucky. Keep in mind, everyone watching, this is the end of the line now for Monospa. They had to win that game to maintain their playoff dreams, and those dreams have just been sadly crushed. Monospa not going to quite have any luck going to playoffs this time around. Better luck next time. But Kolyevina, moving forward, they are about to play a tiebreaker match versus Fantastic Esports, Carl.
Yeah, they certainly will be. They will have side selection in this game against Fantastic Esports. They're playing for 3rd and 4th seeds. So both of these teams, Carly Serbia and Fantastic Esports, have both qualified for the playoffs. Monospot is eliminated. Condolences to them. So they're playing for that all-important seeding. Remember, if you're 4th seed, you have to go against Laganma. That is not an enviable task, especially in a best-of-3. Don't want to be doing that. So winning that first-round matchup, if you're able to get the 3rd seed against Lethal Rage, a lot more doable than up against Laganma. So this game is still very important, although nobody will be eliminated off of this upcoming game. We're going to step aside for a 7-minute break. After that, we will bring you that tiebreaker game between Carly Serbia and Fantastic Esports. Don't touch that dial. Howling Esports will be right back.
Fireflies, a million little pieces, feeds the dying light and brings me back to life. In your eyes, I see something to believe in. Your hands are like a flame, your palms are sweet as pain. Let the darkness lead us into the light. Let our dreams get lost, feel the temperature rise. Baby, tell me one more beautiful lie. One touch and I ignite, like a starship speeding into the night. You and I get lost in the infinite light. Baby, tell me one more beautiful lie. One touch and I ignite. One touch and I ignite. One touch and I ignite. So alive, your touch is like a daylight, burning on my skin. It turns me on again. You and I, survivors of the same kind, but we're the only ones dancing on the side. Let the darkness lead us into the light. Let our dreams get lost, feel the temperature rise. Baby, tell me one more beautiful lie. One touch and I ignite, like a starship speeding into the night. You and I get lost in the infinite light. Baby, tell me one more beautiful lie. One touch and I ignite. One touch and I ignite. One touch and I ignite.
Diamonds are forever, but all we need is just tonight. A monumental tremors that can freeze the speed of light. Just like particles that's falling from heaven, all over the stars. Hear you calling for me, hear you calling me on the phone.
Let the darkness lead us into the light. Let our dreams get lost, feel the temperature rise. Baby, tell me one more beautiful lie. One touch and I ignite. I feel the heat as we collide, like a fever that feels alright. So baby, tell me one more beautiful lie. One touch and I ignite. 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 One touch and I ignite.
Speed of light, I'm breaking down like this ain't nothing new. She wanna kick it, don't skip it, let's say we rendezvous. Usually I don't trick or pick up like 1 or 2. Them daisies known to be deadly, especially if I love you. I'm grown and patient, I'm tired of waiting just for you. If we gon' trip, then we taking trips out to Malibu. My alley-oops, we returning troops from a blowing nuke. A bomb crash and I'm slow asking to tell the truth.
Taking off, yeah, I'll be on my way now. Feel it in the air, cause I'm in a better place now. I never doubt it, no I never doubt it. If you don't like that, leave it where you found it.
Yep. I ain't cutting that pie, I'm saving half for you. Yep. Yep. I ain't cutting that pie, I'm saving half for you.
Hey Taylor, I got you. Look, I'm saving half for you cause I got it bad for you. Don't you ever trip about it, we can even passport it. You deserve it, you ain't even gotta ask for it. Life's a marathon and I wouldn't wanna fast forward. And for the love it was back and forth like tennis. Indy down to Atlanta like every weekend. No matter what we had on the schedule, progressing with every pedal. Momentum at speed of light, I need me like 20 medals, yes. Taking off, yeah, I'll be on my way now. Feel it in the air, cause I'm in a better place now. I never doubt it, no I never doubt it. If you don't like that, leave it where you found it.
Break it down, nothing new. Let's say we rendezvous. 1 or 2, especially if I love you. Just for you. Trips out to Malibu. From a blowing loop.
Speed of light, catch me, catch me, catch me. Speed of light,
taking off, yeah, I'll be on my way now. Feel it in the air, cause I'm in a better place now. I never doubt it, no I never doubt it. I feel it in the air, cause I'm in a better place now. Taking off, yeah, I'll be on my way now. Feel it in the air, cause I'm in a better place now. I never doubt it, no I never doubt it. I feel it in the air, cause I'm in a better place now.
speed of light.
Fireflies, a million little pieces, feeds the dying light and brings me back to life. In your eyes, I see something to believe in.
Welcome back, everybody, to day number 14. We are done with the regular season matches. We are on to the tiebreaker, the last game before playoffs. It is Fantastic Esports taking on Kraljevic Serbia, who just won that last game to qualify for the playoffs. They are now in this tiebreaker for 3rd versus 4th seed, which could mean a lot, depending on if you want to go up against Lagadma or not, which I am going to presume nobody does. So, could be a very important match for that first round of playoffs. Here are the updated standings. Now that all the teams are locked in, Carol Carl alongside Baymax on the call.
Lagadma is definitely a scary team that you want to avoid going up against unless you have to. I feel like, you know, we talk about this all the time, but Lagadma are basically 12-0. Their 2 losses are forfeit losses. Lethal Rage, I think they've had 3 legitimate losses and 1 forfeit loss. They're still a very scary team. Still a team that you definitely don't want to go up against, but if it's Lethal Rage or Lagadma, I am taking Lethal Rage all day long, every day. Lagadma have proven themselves to be a very difficult mountain to climb. So, this is an important game, and Kraljevic did just secure themselves that playoff spot. So like you mentioned, this is their tiebreaker game versus Fantastic Esports. Both of these teams tied up in the standings, 8-6 each. I think you mentioned it already, but side selection is in favor of Kraljevic, and they have picked red side. So it'll be Fantastic Esports on that blue side, Kraljevic on the red side. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that is correct.
I'm not correcting you.
Oh, okay. All right. We're correct. All right, then. Okay, sweet. I do know what I'm talking about. I don't think draft will change all that much from game one, even though these are two different teams. We can talk about this a little bit.
One different team, but yeah.
We're gonna see, or one different team, yeah. We still got Kolyevina. Fantastic eSports. I mentioned this in game one, but they are also part of this sort of triangle of teams that have put a ton of priority on Shen in recent matches. It's Fantastic eSports that actually in both of their last two matches have I think either first picked the Shen or picked it in first rotation. Either way, they put a ton of priority on it, and they haven't actually picked their AD carry until later, and they've picked, I think, Ezreal and Ashe, or maybe Caitlyn with it, so they can be flexible. They don't pick only the Shen, but both of these teams like Shen. I expect Shen will get banned away, so we could look to other strong picks like the Jax that'll be open again. Something that might get banned away from resting in top if Fantastic eSports didn't watch that game that we just saw. Something else like Camille as well. We are looking at the rosters now. Got any insight into these rosters, Carl?
Well, KS, the same roster we just saw, so there's not a lot of news in that front. Fantastic eSports, we haven't seen them in a little while. They didn't see them earlier today because they did win their game by forfeit. Shnadi, Antonio, Radovan, Lycro, and Zizzy, of course. Some of them were hanging out in the chat for that last game, I do believe. So, they were watching. That makes a lot of sense to me. I think, moving a little bit beyond the rosters, unless you have any final thoughts on that, Baymax, but I think it will also be interesting to see how much of a buff KS gets from already having played and won a game, whereas Fantastic eSports, they've just had to watch, maybe not quite as warmed up. They don't really have the adrenaline going. They don't have the momentum on their side.
I think momentum can count for a lot, but also you got to sort of take into account burnout as well. And a burnout doesn't usually factor in after one game, but I think it definitely can, especially when there's a bit of an intimidation factor, right? Like, you just won your playoff spot, but if you lose this game is almost as important. If you're Kolyevina, you don't want to go up against Lagama very badly. Definitely Lethal Rage is your preferred matchup in the finals or in the semifinals, whenever they would meet. So we'll see. There might be a little bit of stress involved, might be a little bit of tension for both of these teams. I guess we're looking at who handles it better, right? Who can maintain their composure better. And I think, excuse me, I made myself an accident. I think KS have already proven that they can handle that tension, they can handle that stress pretty well. They just absolutely stomped and took apart Manaspa in that game number one. It could happen again. I think these teams are very close in skill level. I thought Manaspa and KS were very close in skill level, and KS just blew them out of the water. And Fantastic eSports, they are probably shaking a little bit. Like you said, the momentum is on the side of KS. They just had a stomp. It might get to their heads. They might get a little bit too cocky and do some things they shouldn't do. But overall, Fantastic eSports are probably feeling a little bit intimidated themselves after that game.
I would be. That was a dominating performance by KS. Also showing the Jax pick, something we haven't really seen a lot, so that could be up in contention in this draft as well. Overall, KS have looked really good with their new roster. I'm not exactly sure what their record is with it, but I think certainly better than with the previous roster. So KS, a very strong team. I think they could match up well against Lethal Rage if they are able to go on and win this game. I don't think that's going to be as open and shut as you might think just based off the records and the fact that LR has had a very dominant split. I think this game is probably KS favored. I know we haven't seen Fantastic eSports today, but I just think off of the momentum, they looked very, very strong. Fantastic eSports, not that much stronger than Monospa, just based on the records, kind of how we've seen them play. So I think going into this game, at least, I would favor KS.
Well, another thing I would take into consideration here is I feel like in recent memory, Fantastic eSports have picked a very similar comp in all of their games. Some sort of a scaling option in the bot lane, Shen top lane, sort of a hyper carry Shen style with some sort of a mid lane strong mid lane and jungle champions early on, like a Lee Sin or a Zed or things like that can get priority in lane and get aggressive and sort of bridge that gap for Fantastic eSports to get from the early game to the mid game and let their scaling champions start coming online, let that Shen start doing what he does with the Stand United and really supporting that AD carry. And I doubt Fantastic eSports are going to be able to pull that off because they've done that a couple times now in a row to a pretty good amount of success. And KS have done that as well, so they know what Fantastic eSports are trying to do. They're going to try to stop them. They picked red side. My guess is to ban away that Shen and get 2 of their own priority picks. We'll have to wait and see what actually does happen in draft. But I think, KS are not coming into this draft unprepared. They have a pretty good idea what the tendencies of fantastic esports are, and they should be able to answer that in a fairly convincing way. So FE are going to have to sort of try something a little bit newer if they want to have an impact in this game, I think.
I would agree. I think potentially the red side play could be a move towards Xayah Rakan, because you do want to pick those together. Typically, maybe thinking it'll get picked away. I don't know if that's what we'll see. Last game, we didn't really see any of these new AD carries. We didn't see the Xayah, we didn't see the Kai'Sa, no Ezreal, kind of just banning away the Caitlyn, picking the Ashe and the Senna on the other side to try to avoid that. I think for me, if you're trying to attack Chaos, based on that first game, I would probably focus in the bot lane. They didn't look terribly strong. The arrows were good from Zogs, but in the lane, they looked a little bit weak. Warazar walking off a lot. There was a lot of isolated time for both of these bot laners, and I think that maybe is the place you could try to contest if you are Fantastic Esports. We didn't see a lot of pressure on the bot lane last game. They just kind of slowly lost, but I think if you want to get a lead, I would probably look toward the bot side rather than the top side.
I think that's an interesting idea. I'm actually super hopeful in a Xayah Rakan. We'll have to wait and see. I love watching Xayah Rakan. Those champions work so well together, and especially if you're experienced in it, which Zox and Warazar, I think are. I know Warazar, we just saw him on the Rakan, and he was looking pretty strong. Definitely would not be averse to him doing that again. Just saying, Zox and Warazar. So I'm with you there. I like the Xayah Rakan idea. That could get banned away by Fantastic Esports. Alternatively, they could pick the Xayah. I think Xayah, after the buffs, is probably strong enough to be played on her own. We might disagree on that, but Xayah got some pretty significant buffs. Kai'Sa as well has got really strong buffs. I'm a little bit surprised we didn't see any priority on her last game, especially since she was open. I think she is stronger than the Senna. We'll sort of wait and see what gets opted into here, but like you said, there's a lot of strong AD carries, a lot of viable options there. The Caitlyn, the Ashe, the Kai'Sa, what was the other one? I forget. Ezreal, sure, why not? Ezreal, one of them. Xayah's the other one. A lot of strong AD carries, a lot of strong top laners. We are going to get into the draft here in just a second.
Yep, it is time for this draft. We'll be right back. What a fantastic intro. We are now into that champion select proper, or at least we will be in a couple of seconds. We got no clock ticking down. Apparently they're being just ordered up a little bit. So jumping the gun just a tad on this one. We'll see what those bans come through. I'm imagining the Shen will be banned out by KS. We talked about that a little bit earlier. I think it'll be once again interesting to see which lanes they focus on with the bans. I think focusing one lane is better than kind of trying to spread them out a little bit. Although, who knows, maybe Resting in Top is happy to go up against the Shen with Jax. You know, he kind of hovered that last game, tangling it in front of Fantastic Esports' eyes. See if they react to it, see if he's able to pick it up again. Camille Shen, also very important in the top lane. Or you can just go for a basic tank situation, right? Go for the Ornn, go for the Mordekaiser. There's more, a couple patches ago picks. So I think there's a lot of possibilities for the top lane. And also the bot lane, I think this draft could be relatively complex.
I like the Ornn. I'm not as big of a fan of the Mordekaiser. I think Mordekaiser is a champion that is not really strong enough in the meta to prioritize early. You could look for a counter pick. But overall, there's a lot of champions that are stronger in that top lane. We'll wait and see what gets drafted here. But things like the Fiora is strong, Jax is strong, Shen is strong, Darius is strong, even something like a Kled or an Ornn, sort of other flavor of the month champions from a little while ago, I think are holding up in this meta better than a Mordekaiser is. Mordekaiser is just a little bit too weak in the early game, I think, compared to a lot of the other champions that are very strong, and it gets outscaled by a lot of the other champions that are very strong. So it's sort of an awkward time to be a Mordekaiser main. We do see some of these first picks and bans coming through. Air Forest Galio being taken away, as well as his Azir. So a little bit of a target banning in the mid lane coming through from Fantastic Esports. They are scared of this man. But the Yuumi taken away as well, again, by Kolyevina. Zonx and Warazar just really trying their hardest not to have to go up against that kitty cat.
Yeah, for sure. I like how they have successfully banned out all of the champions that we did not talk about. So that's pretty exciting stuff. It's coming through here. Looks like the draft is going to have to be restarted as the players were jumping the gun. Jumping the gun just like me. They started without the spectator. So kind of hard to watch a game if you don't have a spectator. So we're going to be redoing this one pretty shortly. But I'm interested to see what this last ban is going to be. If it's the Shen coming through, there's a lot of choices that they could go with. I do like the Galio ban as well. Air 4 was really having a lot of pressure on that last game.
Yeah, the heroes' entrances were really, really strong. There's also a lot of champions in the meta right now that synergize very well with the Galio. We've seen a lot of them, but Camille and Zac and Rakan, these champions are all good right now, and they all synergize extremely well with the Grand Entrance, and those are all champions that Kolyevina are able to threaten and play at a pretty high level. So taking away the Galio, definitely a good idea. We'll see what else gets taken away. I've noticed as time has gone on, I think Olaf is still pretty strong in the jungle, but we have seen less and less priority on him in Howling eSports as we move into these later playoff matches. I'm not 100% sure why that is. I think Olaf is still pretty good in the meta. Maybe you've got some insight into that, but there have been a couple times where I've just seen like maybe Olaf's going to get picked here, and there's just nothing there.
I have no insight for you on that one, as it looks like we're back into the real champs. Like, in case you forgot what the client looks like, here's a little bit of a reminder. I like the Olaf a lot. I think it's very, very good in the jungle. Not too sure why it's not being picked, and nothing has changed in the last patch. It's a Caitlyn first. It's an Ashe on the other side to respond, and the Zac up against Caitlyn. I like this pick a lot. Caitlyn really struggles against Zac, and we have a Nidalee Baymax coming through for Antonio. You know, it's a comfort pick, but could be a little bit weak just overall. Yone being hovered, we've seen that pop off completely so far in Howling eSports.
Well, we saw Lethal Rage play the Nidalee a little while ago with a lot of success, but that is Lethal Rage, and so Fantastic eSports may be a bit of a different animal. Antonio might not have the same level of success on the pick. We'll see. He did opt for it. I think you're right, though. This so far the draft sort of reeks of last patch. Caitlyn first pick, high priority. The Ashe to counter. I think the Ashe is a fine counter. I think the Caitlyn is a fine first pick, but the other 80 carries are still open. No Xayah Rakan this time around. Zac is a counter to Caitlyn. Zac has been strong in the meta for a while. The Lissandra is a bit newer, though. The Lissandra is not something that has seen as much contention, especially since Syndra is open, Corki is open. Those are sort of mid laners that we've seen people gravitate towards a lot. Corki for that scaling option, Syndra for that early game, especially versus an Orianna. I like the Syndra quite a bit. I feel like the Lissandra might struggle to maintain lane pressure versus an Orianna, but we'll have to sort of wait and see. Air 4 did opt into that. He knew what he was getting himself into, so hopefully he'll do well. If you're Kolyevina, we'll have to wait and see. The Darius now banned away in that second rotation. The Shen as well, which, by the way, I'm caught blindsided by that one. I am very surprised that neither one of these teams actually did put priority on that Shen. It didn't get picked up in that first rotation, didn't get banned in the first ban rotation, but Kolyevina are going to ban that away second rotation and deny any sort of a Shen in the second round.
I, too, am surprised that there was no top lane focus in the first round of picks. The Renekton going to be the selection for Fantastic eSports. Chaos now get to do the counter pick at the top lane. Some interesting hovers coming through, but we'll have to just wait and see what ends up getting locked in. I am interested in the Pyke support as well. I am not a huge fan of this pick here. It will be the Jax for us in top once again up against the Renekton. What are your thoughts on this Pyke bot lane? To me, it's just a little bit off meta.
Pyke is a champion that is pretty feast or famine, right? If he's doing well, that's good. If he's doing not so well, that's not so good. When there's Rakan open, when there's Lulu open, when there's a tons of other supports that haven't been banned away that are available, the Pyke is a bit questionable in my mind, but I think he is he's a good playmaking option, and Warzar gravitates a lot towards those playmaking champions, things like the Rakan, things like the Pyke, so it's definitely with his style, and I'm not going to knock him too hard for it. I love watching Pyke, but I don't think you're wrong. Versus a Thresh, versus an Orianna, versus a Renekton, these are all sort of hard champions for a Pyke to deal with. It's so much crowd control coming through from Zizzy. Radovan's got the shielding for whoever Warzar is trying to target and trying to blow up, trying to pick. And Schnotty is just got that targeted insta-stun to keep Warzar locked in place. So these are all things that Pyke struggles to deal with a little bit. He might have trouble impacting these fights, but there is a lot of good crowd control for Kolyevina to initiate with that Warzar can then follow up with, right? There's the slingshot from M6 into the Frozen Tomb from Air 4, and his W as well. I'm not sure even what that's called. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow from Zonks. There's a lot of chain crowd control here. In fact, every member of Kolyevina has hard crowd control, and I think Pyke is not a good primary form of engage, but he is excellent secondary engage. You got somebody else set up for the Pyke, set up for that bone skewer, then that target is going to get bone skewered, going to get stunned by the undertow, and then you're instantly just going to dunk him with that the death from below, I think is what it's called, and it'll be lights out. Warzar picking up some nice execution gold for him and his teammate. So I don't hate it. I can see it working out pretty well here. I kind of like it. I'm talking myself into it.
That's good. I think the Lysandra W is called Ring of Frost. I could be wrong about that, but that to me is what that ability is called. I like the comp from KS. I think the Lysandra a little bit off meta, but I think it goes well with this composition. I think Radovan and Lycro I would expect to take cleanse. I think if either of them don't, they're kind of just trolling here. I think they'll get jumped on a lot, especially if Radovan does not have cleanse. Air 4 and M6, that's a pretty free gank time and time again in the mid lane with the Elastic Slingshot once it has some levels in it. I like the engage. I think they'll have a very strong wombo combo. I'm pretty sold on resting in top's Jax, although he was 3-0 at the start of the game, so we'll see where M6 puts the priority, if they want to repeat the top lane focus or if they want to go elsewhere and just kind of leave this Jax to scale by himself. I think they have many options on the table, and I think the comp for Fantastic Esports, they don't really have a front line. They don't have a ton of engage. I think it's just a little bit not sure what it wants to do.
I would agree with that. There's not really a clear ball delivery system for Radovan. There's not a tanky front line to allow Lycro to sort of siege and do what Caitlyn does. Sort of Fantastic Esports, like you said, it just feels like they're kind of not sure what they want to do. But they do have strong champions early game across the board. Caitlyn Thresh, that's an exceptionally strong lane. I would definitely expect Lycro and Zizzy to have pressure in the bot lane. Orianna mid lane should also definitely be able to take control of that wave and push Air 4 around a little bit on the Lysandra. Nidalee in the jungle is an aggressive pick, gets you on map quickly, hard to track down, hard to keep tabs on, clears quickly, ganks pretty well. So I'm looking forward to see what Antonio can get done on that pick. And of course, Renekton in the top lane. A pretty good answer, I think, to the Jax, at least earlier on. Eventually, resting in top will likely outscale that matchup, but for probably the first 1, 2, maybe even 3 items, Schnotty should have the lead in that 1v1. So it's sort of, in my mind, up to Fantastic Esports to make something happen relatively early on in this game with that lane pressure that they should have. And if they can do that, they can probably snowball it into a win. But if they can't, Kolyevina should sort of hit their spikes in that mid game when those team fights start coming online, and they'll probably have a composition that is very difficult for Fantastic Esports to deal with in sort of a 5v5 environment.
Yeah, certainly do agree with pretty much all of what you just said, actually, Baymax. I think you're kind of popping off on the analysis today here. We should be in game in just a little bit, I would say. We are loading into the game. Obviously, sometimes the loading screen takes 5 minutes, sometimes the loading screen takes 10 seconds. And welcome to League of Legends.
By the way, you said that like you don't normally agree with me. Like, I don't normally pop off on the analysis. I'm hurt, Carl.
That was not the intention. I just didn't have anything to really build on there. I think you pretty much summed it up, and then I just got off on a tangent about how long the loading screen takes. So
it won't be that much longer. We'll be there soon.
Yeah, for sure. We get to see that cool graphic again. I think it's really cool. I've always wanted to see League of Legends in like a first-person view. You know, like kind of what the champions are seeing. If I just wanted to, it might be a little bit nauseating actually to watch a whole game like that. Not really to cast, just to kind of play and have a whole game in cinematic mode. I think that would be really fun. What are your thoughts on that, Baymax?
You want my thoughts on whether we should have a cinematic League of Legends? I am always down for cinematic League of Legends. I think the graphics,
see, here it is.
The artists are great. Look at this, beautiful.
Imagine if the whole game was like this, Baymax.
High level. I'm not gonna lie. If I wanted that, I would just go play Smite, but I don't want that. So I think we're okay. I like League how it is. We're getting into this game. Keep in mind, everybody watching, this is the tiebreaker match between Effie and Kolyevina, right? These guys are playing basically for who doesn't have to go up against Lagama. So that's pretty high stakes. Both these teams are guaranteed playoffs right now, but one of them is almost guaranteed to lose their next game, and the other one is not. Basically, whoever wins is not guaranteed to lose their next game. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. But we are into this loading screen. We're past the loading screen. We're into the game. Some nice javelins from Antonio, sort of pushing M6 around a little bit. A good start to the pressure game that FE is trying to play here. M6 being denied the recalls as well. But Warzar has roamed up from bot lane, so we might see a bit of an invade skirmish happen here.
M6 is going to be late, I think, to the buff. He just got into base right now. He's healing up. Yeah, he's going to be a little bit delayed on the start.
All the way back. He's going to be pretty delayed.
Yeah, I think so for sure. Warzar using the sweeper as well. Up a little bit. I don't really know what this level 1 situation is right now for KS. Their jungler is in base, and their support is topside. So that's kind of fun. FE going for the invade here. This is just wild stuff there, guys.
And they haven't even been spotted out. All these wards invested by Krolyev, and I don't even think they know that Shnadi and Antonio are taking this buff away. So that's pretty great. I think that's a very strong start for FE. We'll see if they can build on this momentum at all, but red buff stolen away from M6, despite the fact that he started, or compounding on the fact that he started the game late. He got to his camp late. He isn't even starting his buff. He got no leash from Zonx or Warzar. He's forced to start his wolves. That feels really bad if you're M6.
Unfortunately for Antonio, he is going to get spotted out on these wards, so it's not a complete stealth start, but getting everything he wanted, basically the full 2 camps, leaving the Raptor just to deny that respawn coming through, and FE with a very nice start. Vision on M6 as well. They're, I think, pretty much as good of a start as they can hope for.
Because of this vision, Antonio is actually looking for an invade of his own, but he failed to jump over the wall. No, Antonio, it looks
Spear.
Like no smite. Yeah, they're still looking for it.
They get it! Over the wall, the spear over M6's shoulder. The whole team is here as well. Death sentence on towards him. He's going down. No chance to use flash. It's a disaster for Kingdom Serbia right now. First blood and a 4-buff start likely for Antonio. This Nidalee is cooking with gas.
Excellent vision control from FE is just part of the puzzle that sort of enabled that aggressive play. We talked about Antonio, and we talked about FE trying to get aggressive early, trying to get in Trollyeva's business. This is exactly what they had to do, right? Use that lane pressure, get aggressive, punish M6. That's why you picked Nidalee, now resting in top, forced to flash away from the 1v1 in the top lane as well. Actually, he was winning that matchup, but got a little bit of
tower shots.
Turret shot, yeah. Took some turret shots, and he is on the losing end now, which means Antonio feels like he
not again.
Go for M6 in the jungle.
I don't think he actually got the Krug. No, he didn't get the Krug, but he's going to get some of the Krugs likely. This Jax is in no real position. He's so low. This seems so dangerous. Shnadi's on the way. Ooh, the spear is a little bit wide. Javelin not quite on point, but resting on top. He's on the trap. The jump could be through. Lissandra's on the way. Spear goes a little bit wide again. Antonio is just ripping through this jungle, wreaking a lot of havoc on M6 right now.
I don't think M6 has actually managed to reset his Raptor camp yet, though. So he is still so far behind in terms of golden experience. Like, right now, the creep difference in the jungle is not huge, but look at all the camps Antonio has up. He's taking this scuttle trap. He can run down and take the other one as well. M6 finally resetting his Raptors. He's got nothing left to take. He got most of his Krugs, but he's not going to get anything else. Both sides of Antonio's jungle are totally up. He's about to double scuttle. M6 forced to run and take his scraps in his bot side, take the wolves, take the gromp. That's all he's going to get. Meanwhile, Antonio has got his entire jungle to clear. So it's hard to overstate the jungle gap right now. It's pretty significant.
Yeah. Antonio has only taken 2 of his own camps thus far. Actually, only 1, because he took 3 camps on the enemy side and the scuttle crab right now. So he basically has not farmed his own jungle at all, and he's still ahead by 2 or 3 camps. So very well played for him, wreaking more havoc on the bot side. Antonio has had so much pressure. This is basically the dream start on Nidalee right now. He has 6 camps up and alive, both the buffs as well. He's going to have buffs for essentially the whole early game.
The whole early game is a strong time to have buffs. If you're going to have buffs, I always say you should try to get them for the entire early game. But right now, Antonio might be looking for more of an invade. I can't help but wonder if he's maybe overstaying his welcome a little bit here. He could have been taking his own jungle camp that entire time, and there really wasn't much hope of him stealing that gromp away from M6 because Blaker and Dizzy didn't quite up the wave where he used to be to really roam up and assist with that. So maybe a bit of a misplay there from Antonio, but still a big difference in jungle. And just look at the map again, M6. None of his camps are up right now. His Krugs are going to respawn soon. His Raptors will respawn soon, but Antonio clears faster than he does, and all of Antonio's camps are still up, so we're still looking at a big jungle difference. With Dragon spawning as well, and M6 is stuck on the top side of the map, if Antonio wants to, he can opt to sort of go in for this Dragon with his bot lane when they get back to lane. We might see an early first Dragon come through from FE. We might also just see Antonio running around the jungle, keeping tabs on M6 and holding him a little more, but I'm a little disappointed actually there's not any deep wards in M6's topside jungle right now. I feel like, Radovan's got pressure mid lane. He should maybe look to use those wards in the top side. I'm not actually sure where he used them. It looks like one in lane to keep tabs in Air 4. That's fine, but I don't think you really need that because you're going to have pressure. You just have the wave there like the entire game. Just keep tabs in M4 or M6. Just make sure you know where he is. I think that's a little bit better. But anyway, I'm rambling a little bit. Dragon spawn on the map. We are seeing bot lane get back to lane for FE, but Antonio heading towards that top side. It looks like he's not quite done bullying M6 just yet.
M6 could be going for the gank here in the mid lane. This kind of needs to work. The cleanse is available. The Radovan, the flash away, going to be just fine. Trading back a lot of damage as well. Warazar coming from the top side. This could be a little bit of a surprise, but there might be a dark passage available for Zizzy. Hook does land. Where is that lantern? Not really ever going to come through. Not too sure what the situation is with that teleport coming through from Shnati. This is going to be a Dominus Renekton Air 4 flashing himself away. Not a lot to be gained right there. FE gives some of their lead back.
Well, Yevena, not a bad play, and M6 with a solid gank mid lane. Doesn't pick up much for himself, but does get a successful gank off for his mid laner. A did burn flat Air Force.
And he's losing his camps.
He is losing his camps, so he's going to have his Raptors and probably Red buff taken away as well here. The Spirit Javelin actually missed a little bit. Everyone's been there before it happens.
Yeah, certainly does. We'll slow him down a little bit. That's quite a lot of damage that is being missed on that red buff, but M6 is going to walk into his jungle and find his camps just gone again. This is just pure bullying right now from Antonio. Up 2 levels. I think the Dragon, will actually slow him down when he goes to take it, right? It takes a while to do that. So I think eventually once his camps are down, he will rotate over to that objective, but I don't think there's any rush to do so. His bot lane is winning as well. Antonio basically has free reign over this map.
Yeah, we'll see. Gonna have to be a little bit more careful if you're FE though right now, especially if you don't know where M6 is, because Radovan did burn flash, did burn cleanse mid lane. That is sort of an opening for KS to get back into the game, but oh my god, Antonio, no, don't do it to him. Oh my god.
He's doing it to him. The grap's going to reset, the blue buff is going to reset. Antonio could be in some trouble, but a dark passage to get away. Once he comes back from being CC'd, finally gets over the wall. Might have to flash, does use that summoner to get away, but M6 falling even farther behind. Scuttle goes over in favor of Antonio. Continuing to look for it. M6 has to recall right now, Baymax.
Yeah, he can't walk up in his own jungle. FE's bot side is stronger, Antonio is full HP, and Air 4 is stuck under turret with no flash and no ultimate. Like, what can M6 do other than recall? The answer is not that much. And guess what? Antonio just stole his red buff away from right under his nose. He's free to take the blue if he wants to, but I don't think he knows that he's free to take it, so it looks like he might actually leave that up for now. He's looking bot side instead, trying to get some vision control of this jungle. Spotting out Warazar with that ward, I think. M6 did have time to recall, and he's back on the map with full HP. This could be favorable for KS, but it's still a 2-level deficit between these guys.
Yeah, Antonio throwing in the spear. Elastic Slingshot canceled there. Air 4 could be a little bit caught out if this Javelin lands. Could take a lot of damage. Does have the ultimate, of course, and the Claw of Doom. Gets over the wall with that one. I think the Dragon should likely be started up now by FE. I think this is the timing for it.
Yep, getting started up. Meanwhile, M6 is finally hitting level 5, trying to pick up his Gromp and his
top lane. Dominus is down, resting in top. Grandmaster's Might has been used as well. I don't think it's going to be enough. The Q is going to be huge from Shnati. The flash away. Decides not to follow with his own flash. Could have a slice flash. Maybe into some dice, but no dice on this one. It's coming up Snake Eyes as Shnati just accepts the summoner, gets away. Dragon also for FE.
Yeah, accepting the summoner, not terrible. Also, I think, FE didn't know for sure where M6 was. It's not too big of a stretch to assume that he would give up his blue buff and go to the top side of the map and look for some sort of a gank top lane if Shnati were to get too aggressive. So I'm fine with him just trading the flashes. I think that's fine. Resting in top is going to be that much less safe. Next time that happens, he won't have his flash, and it's a guaranteed kill. That's a lot of pressure that Shnati now has to do what he wants in this lane. And Herald has just spawned, so the top lane gap for that Herald fight is going to matter, right? If Shnati has flash and resting in top doesn't, that could be the difference between getting a Herald and losing a Herald. Now mid lane, Radovan, no cleanse, just come up.
Help. Yeah, the Shockwave goes down to buy a little bit of time. Nice dodge on the death from below. Zizzy going to go for the death sentence now. Has to be flashed by Warazar. A play that almost worked. The cleanse was not quite up. but in the end, it does actually kind of favor FE in terms of the Summoners. Warzar now could be in some trouble. Antonio kind of whiffs on that one. Does he have the Javelin back available? One more spear could pick up the kill. It goes out. Will he find it? Yes, he will. Touchdown Javelin. Antonio finding the shot.
That was about as max rage as it gets, I think. I don't know. There's like pixels separating that spear from hitting Warzar and totally whiffing. But Warzar did get hit. He did go down, which means what little pressure KS had around the top of the map is gone. Scuttlecraft taken, secured for Antonio. Herald started up as well. Luckily for M6, he has been sort of allowed to farm his own jungle camps thanks to that dragon spawning, thanks to this Herald spawning. So he's caught up in gold a little bit. He's caught up in experience a little bit on this Zac. But what KS have traded for that is all these jungle camps. Now looking top lane though, Shnadi finding himself in a 1v3 in a pretty small amount of time. He might be happy.
Very fancy feat though on Shnadi. Pops the dominus. He could be trying to go in for the full distance on this one. It's going to be the full distance back to the death chamber, unfortunately. That fell a little bit flat there for Shnadi. I think he might have been better off just trying to get himself away. That is the E. Oh, the 90 caliber net. Lycro flashing a little bit too late. Zonks coming up huge in the bot lane for Chaos and the solo kill.
Zonks just won the 1v1 versus Lycro, and Chaos won the top side map as well. Antonio did manage to pick up that Herald, but those are pretty big moves from Chaos. I like the proactive plays. I like the roaming around the map. Warzar and M6 know that they don't want to contest that Herald, right? They don't want a fair 5-on-5 team fight. They're not strong enough for that, so they opt to just collapse on Shnadi, who was too far up instead. I think that was a really smart play. Now Antonio, ooh, I thought he might catch out Warzar for a second there, but I forgot it's a Pike. He's fine.
Who might not be fine. That's Radovan. Taking one more tower shot. A little bit of a cross map, but nothing to come of. That one did have to use the cleanse, unfortunately. FE, they seem to be kind of slipping right now. That gold lead has evaporated.
The gold lead is evaporated, and Zonks is strong. GLP picked up for Air 4 as well. It's sort of weird to look at this game and be like, FE aren't really ahead because there's such a jungle gap here, but there's small leads in most other areas of the map in favor of Kroyevin, right? The bot lane. That's not even true, really. I mean, there's a kill on Zonks. Where is the gold difference coming from, though? Because there's such a CS lead in the bot lane. 4,100
support.
Okay.
Yeah, most of the bot lane. I think they have about 800 gold up.
I guess the Pike ulti, was that a death from below execution? Herald dropped top lane, though. First turret picked up for FE. The collapse from Warzar, though. I think Shnadi should be fine.
Antonio has to flash away from the E. Could have an elastic slingshot over the wall. They could go for the full dive if they want to. Air 4 taking a little bit of damage. Looks like everybody going to get themselves out okay, but Antonio had to use that flash.
Antonio did the flash, but first turret gold. A lot of turret platings picked up there for FE, and the gold gap has suddenly materialized again. About 2,000 separating these teams. So when we're talking about gold, you got to keep in mind the standing gold from that Rift Herald that hasn't actually been picked up yet. It's good for at least 2 turrets.
Oh! In the mid lane, Radovan could be in all sorts of trouble. Has to use the flash himself, as a lot of summoners starting to be blown by FE, maybe overstepping just a little bit.
Radovan is blowing summoner spells left and right. Top lane Shnadi.
Oh, the dominus comes through. He's trying to turn this fight on its head. He does manage to do so. Resting in top is scratching his head right now, wondering how he lost that 1v1. The Renekton coming up big.
Renekton coming up big. Looking bot lane, though. M6 and Warzar trying to get a pick. Zizzy and Lycro under their turret. They did have vision control onto this Pike, onto the Bone Skewer, so M6 is going to just have to be content with taking his first Scuttle Crab of the game. So, that's good. M6, again, sort of catching up in farm a little bit here. Dragon spawning as well, but Warzar eating a Javelin.
Antonio might have bitten off more than he can chew. He's trying to go back in on towards Warzar. This is going to try to mirror Peke's great escape right now. Antonio, the fancy feet coming through. He is in a 1 versus 4, though. This is not looking terribly likely for himself. There is that Frozen Tomb shut down. Air 4 picking up the gold.
Yeah, I was going to say, how fancy can you get? And honestly, FE, that was with a pretty big misstep, right? Like, Antonio, why are you there? Your bot lane just recalled. Your mid lane just died? Recalled? I think he recalled. He blew flash and recalled, right? Nobody's there. You're all by yourself. You know you don't have pressure bot lane or mid lane. Why are you stepping forward? But he steps forward anyway, gets a little bit too cocky, a little bit too aggressive. He thinks he's strong enough, and he gets punished for it. And he gets punished not only by losing his life, but also by losing the dragon. Kroyevin to pick up their first dragon of the game, and that is something that I definitely should not have happened, right? With this big of a jungle gap, there should be basically no way that M6, with this big of a jungle gap and a lane pressure gap, right? All these turret plates, all these turrets falling from Kroyevin. Like, there should be no way that FE lose that second dragon. But they did, largely because of that mistake from Antonio, and that could end up costing them big in the next few minutes. There's still a small gold lead for Fantastic Esports of about 3,000, but Lycro might be about to get caught out here.
Ooh, that's a nice arrow onto him. Cleanse likely not going to be enough to save his life. He's nowhere to go. Finally gets taken down. Air 4 now on a killing spree. Zizzy has to get over the wall. Has the flash available. That is going to get burned. Effie really starting to fall apart right now. Antonio in that earlier play, honestly, kind of just an int, trying to go in for Warzar. You're never going to find the kill on the bike. You might try to find the kill on Air 4. That's a nice stopwatch to buy some time. Not sure he's going to be able to get out, though. Frozen Tomb onto himself. Rolling skewer onto Antonio. Taking very low, actually. That from below is available. Actually, is not available, I should say. Antonio trying to get himself up. He goes down once again. 2 versus 2 right now. M6 has the passive available. That has been procced. Ash is now on the scene as well. Zonx has arrived. Hook not going to mean anything, I don't feel. Trying to find the kill out of Radovan. Might be a little bit over-aggressive by Zonx, but there's no mana actually left onto this Orianna. Zonx, the summoner heal, and the cleanse comes through from Radovan, trying to burn everything to get himself away. I think he will be able to do so. The volley on the backside, not going to be quite enough. Zizzy now going to get smited down by M6. Warzar dies to the headshot from the 90 caliber net. Lycro picking up the kill in return. In the top lane as well, just dominating, resting in top. Might be resting in peace once again very shortly here. There's a slice, there's the dice, the auto attack. Schnotty picking up that kill, trying to put his team on his back, as this game is suddenly getting a little bit closer.
Yeah, I feel like the rest of Fantastic Esports are playing a little bit disrespectful, but Schnotty up here in the top lane right now, he is being the rock that Effie might end up needing in this game. 170 CS on this Renekton. That's like better than perfect almost. I mean, you can't be better than perfect, but that's about perfect. That's pretty good. Like, very strong CS numbers from this Crocodile. Dominating resting in top, like you said. And now Antonio getting very...
Antonio!
Again, just why?
Why are you there? A kill for Zonx in the mid lane as well. FE, they've got to pull it together.
They're just playing disrespectful. I feel like they're getting cocky. They have leads. They know they're strong. But this is what can happen when you draft a team comp like this. You got to be careful. You don't get too aggressive and disrespect the pick potential that your enemy has, which is exactly what keeps happening. Another one mid lane. Air 4, an easy frozen tomb onto Radovan, who had no cleanse, had no flash, and picked the fight himself. And he died right after Lycro did in that mid lane, getting picked by Air 4 and Warzar. This is just honestly, it's sad to see. FE, get together. You're fine. Like, you have these champions that are aggressive. This is what can happen though when you feel like you're ahead, when you feel strong. Is you can get a little bit too cocky, you can push a little bit too far forward, you can give more than you intend to. Now Schnotty trying to catch out resting on top in this bot lane, but the Counter-Strike is going to dodge out of that
Bork. Double Bork. Schnotty trying to find the kill, not going to be able to do so. And that was also death from below from Warzar. That's a lot of extra gold going over to the team, as KS have really even the gold gap up once again. And, you know, they're not looking that weak right now. A lot of the power's on Antonio, who's really just been kind of running it down in the last couple of minutes. He hasn't really had a proactive play, I would say, in about 5 minutes right now. Finally trying to go for his Herald here. But a lot of this power is concentrated on the Renekton and on the Nidalee. This 4v4 without the top laners, I think, is very favorable for KS right now.
Well, Schnotty does have teleport, so he can be there. Both top laners can be there. With Smite, it is secured.
Who's going to be the engaged? The Nidalee goes down once again. Antonio, 3 and 4 at the time being, as Zizzy going to go down at the same time to Air 4. They do secure the Herald. They're not able to pick up the Eye, however, so they may not actually be able to use this ever in this game. They're going to have to wait out the timer, 40 seconds. Chaos just trying to defend that. There's no way that FE's going to be able to pick that up. They essentially just lose the fight 2 for 0 and don't pick up an objective.
At this point, I would say FE are, I think, in my opinion, favored to lose this game. Radovan dying again, top lane, or forced to flash. Again, just like, why are you there? You know your team just lost a team.
Warzar's there, death from below available.
Why?
It's a disaster right now. They're crumbling.
KS just won a team fight at Rift Herald. You know your team isn't there. You know they have no pressure. Why are you defending that top lane outer turret? Let it fall. You can't save it. But Radovan does try to save it. He burns his flash, try to get out, still ends up dying. Like you said, death from below, giving that double gold over to KS. This is just going from great to really bad just so quickly for FB. And now next dragon spawning, and it's KS who again have the inside track on this thing. They're starting, or I take it back, it's not KS, it's FE. FE, they get a foothold back on the map. They have the inside track on this dragon. KS hung around the top side a little bit too long. So they picked up that Herald, or they denied the Herald from FE. They picked up the top lane outer turret, but they did trade Dragon for it. Honestly, I think that's fine if you're KS. Neither team is super likely to get an early Dragon Soul. Like, that would have been second Dragon for KS picked up at 20 minutes. Like, that's kind of meh. That's fine to give that up, I think. So I think KS are in a really strong spot. The gold lead has totally swapped sides. KS are ahead about 3,000, 2,500 anyway. And KS, I think they outscale FE. Like we talked about in draft, they have sort of a more cohesive team comp that knows what it wants to do a little bit better than FE's does. I think KS are strongly favored to win this game from this point.
I think they are indeed. I think FE just really overstepping their ability. Shoddy is in a lot of trouble right now. Arrow straight on towards him. That's a 3.5 second stun. He is not even going to get out of it. Barely does. Dominance proc does absolutely nothing. That's a shutdown for the Jax as well. He is going to start winning in this side lane. We saw what Resting on Top can do on this Jax in the last game. Be very scared if you are FE.
I think FE have been scared for the past 10 minutes, or they should have been if they aren't. I've been for them.
Zizzy just caught out once again. Stretching Strike not going to quite be used due to that stopwatch. Stun goes down. Death from below. Air 4 could be in some trouble. A nice Zanya buys some time. Dive is going to continue under the tower. Lycro did pick up a kill onto this Lysandra, but he has passive as well. Cell Division available if he needs it. He's not even going to need it. Zonk's on a killing spree now. Lycro barely able to get out. Tell a lie, not going to be able to get away. Oh, Ace in the hole gets interrupted. Hello, there's a Jax. The Grandmaster at Arms is trying to move his team forward in this one. KS dominating this game right now with a full 180 coming through.
4-1. And Radovan in that top lane, trying to trade something back, trying to break open that top lane inner turret. He might eventually get it, but at what cost, right? A 4-for-1 teamfight win for Krolyevna. They pick up, I think they're about to get bot lane turret. They got that mid lane inner turret as well. And we might see Shoddy try to look for a re-engage here, but still full numbers advantage in favor of Krolyevna. They're totally safe in the bot half of the map. All they lost for that team fight win was that one top lane inner turret, which I think it was fine. I think it was good from Radovan to look for that turret. That was a decent answer from FE, but at the end of the day, that's still definitely a win for Krolyevna.
Yeah, everything that they've been coming up with recently has been in their favor. They lost the dragon. I agree with you. Who cares, right? It's going to be 30 minutes before a soul could potentially come through for FE. I don't think KS are anticipating that this game will last until 30 minutes, to be completely honest with you. They don't care about that one Cloud Dragon at all. They're dominating right now. They're winning every fight. They look much, much more cohesive. Fantastic Esports, like their draft, look like a team that is without direction, that is without a plan right now. Shoddy falling apart in the side lane. I think he'll be losing this 1v1 now at 2 items. Warzar should be just fine here, able to get himself away with that E into the movement speed from the W. KS, they look like they have no chance to lose this game at this point.
Well, I mean, it's always possible to throw it, right? There's always hope. There's always a chance, but it is a pretty big gap between these teams right now. 7 kills to 17. Like you said, 4,000 gold difference. Resting in top getting run down by Shoddy as well. Air 4 is here, though.
Air 4 is here. That is that frozen tomb. He gets out of it relatively quickly with a little bit of tenacity, but it's just not enough. This Jax is really starting to come online. Nice play by Air 4 and by KS. The slide lane now unmatched.
Yeah, Jax starting to come online. He's got the second item, but M6 looking for a fight mid. I don't think Fantastic Esports win this.
I don't think so either, Baymax. M6 is so strong. Elastic Slingshot, like Raz flashing himself away from that one, putting in the auto attack, but he's just not doing any damage. Death from below takes Zizzy off the map. I think we could start seeing them being chained through. Radovan is going down. Lycro's going down as well. A triple kill right now for Warizar. Trying to put his team on his back. A nice flash from Zonks to get away from Antonio. He is going to be falling as well. The ace coming through for KS across the map. 5-for-0. Schneidy coming up in 5 seconds, but he has no teammates. The Baron surely going to go over in favor of Krolyevna Serbia.
So one thing that was going well for FE was his side lane. Schneidy was strong, but he gets punished, and KS, they win the rest of the map as well. A 5-for-0. That is a clean ace across the board into a Baron for Krolyevna. There's no answer from FE. They might be able to get an inside track on this dragon to set up for that, but it's not even a Dragon Soul. It's only 3rd dragon in the game, and even if it was a Dragon Soul, guess what Dragon Soul is? A Cloud Soul. I don't think that's going to make the difference on a team that honestly doesn't get that much out of a Cloud Soul. It's good on Thresh, it's good on Renekton, but is it going to be enough to overcome this sort of a gap, even if you can get your hands on it, which I don't think they're going to be able to? I doubt it. Resting in top might be losing this 1v1.
Could be in a little bit of trouble. Going to go for the stun. His team is arriving, though. It's Air 4 once again. There's that frozen tomb. Schneidy could be in some trouble as well. The re-engage from Resting in top, that may have been a bit of an error. Not able to get out of this one. You don't feel Counter-Strike, though, to buy some time. He's just going to be doing that for himself, buying a little bit of time. Play comes through, shut down in favor of Radovan. A little bit back for FE, but surely nowhere near enough. Might see the re-engage come through as well. Warzar charging out that Bone Skewer, not going to quite land. Teleport invested for this Dragon as well. I think you just can see this into Chaos and push in the mid.
Yeah, I would agree. Like I was saying, this Dragon doesn't matter hardly at all. Compared to what KS just got, compared to an Ace and a Baron, you don't fight over this Dragon. You just get out, you let FB take the Dragon, especially if they want to invest a teleport for it. You say, that's fine. We're just going to push our lanes. We're going to get our Baron buff, put it to work. We're going to start working at these outer turrets, these inhibitor turrets, try to knock these down. And KS, go for a little bit of a slow stranglehold here on FB.
Couple ultimates expended there. The bot laner's not finding a whole lot with those. A little bit unfortunate for them there. Antonio almost went down to that death from below, but was able to hop himself out of range of that one. But KS, they have a 10,000 gold lead. They have the Baron on in a lot of waves. Resting in top, coming back from the base. I think the pressure could start to be exerted once again. But KS, they can take their time all they want. Objective's not coming up for quite a long time.
Yeah, the Baron buff isn't going to expire for several minutes. Resting in top is sort of delaying getting to the side lanes so he can take that red buff. I don't know if that's worth it, but he does have teleport. You can get to a team fight if one breaks out, so KS can still look to pressure even though resting in top is not quite back on the map yet. And pretty soon there's going to be 3 waves of Baron buffed minions crashing into the Nexus turrets, or into the inhibitor turrets of Fantastic eSports. And they're going to have to try to do something about that, and I don't know if they're going to be able to, especially once resting in top guys in these top lane waves. It's going to be really, really hard for FE to hold on.
Doesn't have the Baron buff, but it probably doesn't make a whole lot of difference. We saw what he could do last game. He's on 2.5 items. Once again, Radovan maybe playing with fire. Has flash and has his team, though, so I think he's going to be just fine. Pushing the bot lane coming through from Air 4. Warazar running around, clearing out some traps, clearing out some wards. Pushing the mid lane as well from Zonks is going to be coming through. A nice kind of 1-4. They're moving everything. Numbers are not my thing today. Moving on from that one, but Zonks, there's the arrow in the mid lane, landing that on towards Antonio, able to get himself up, but Dizzy could be the sacrificial lamb going down very, very quickly. Schnotty has arrived now. Dominus is on, but what can he do? He's tanking up for a little while longer, but he's just going to be going down immediately. Air 4 picking up that kill. Antonio Lycra now running for the kills. Radovan trying to catch up with his team. That is the Cell Division pot for M6, but he's just going to come back alive. You got to kill him again. They're not going to be able to do so. Air 4 a little bit out of mana, resting his top, just trying to go all the way on towards Radovan. He should burn down to the red buff in the end. There it is. Oriana taken out of this fight. 2 versus 4 at the time being. Warzar still very strong. Zonk's going to get assassinated actually by Antonio, but the cat does pay the price. 9 lives not enough. She is gone from this one. It turns out 7 might be the magic number. This could be the re-engage on a Lycra 90 caliber net available onto M6. That is going to land. Inhibitor likely to go down. Stretching strike though into the Bone Skewer. Lycra just overstepping a little bit too far. It's just the support left, but it looks like KS doesn't want to press their luck. They're up 12,000 gold. They're backing themselves away after a big fight.
That inhibitor actually seemed pretty difficult for KS to break open, but they did manage to go for the dive. They managed to win the fight. It was maybe a bit sloppy. Zonks and resting in top maybe get a little bit too careless, getting picked, getting caught, but still, an inhibitor broke it open. Is going to make it so much easier for KS to siege those side lanes when they want to, when maybe after the next Baron is up, maybe after they take that one. KS don't have a great siege comp though, right? They're playing against a Caitlyn and an Oriana and a Nidalee. These are champions that are siege champions. These are champions that are good at pressuring turrets, at pressuring waves, at clearing waves. KS aren't as good at that. KS are good at diving. They've got Zac, they've got Lissandra, they've got Pyke. These champions want to go in. And that's exactly what they did. That's how they break open these turrets, by forcing very, very hard onto FE and just picking the fight. That can be hard to do around turrets. It's much easier in the jungle, right? KS have a great composition for zoning Fantastic eSports out of jungle objectives they want, out of dragons, out of barons, which is another reason why it really doesn't matter that FE got that other dragon, because they are very unlikely to actually get their hands on a dragon soul, because whenever KS want to, they can just sort of start denying these dragons from coming through. They can say, nope, this one's ours, nope, this one's ours, nope, this one's ours, and there's not much that FE can do about it.
Yeah, not a whole lot that can be done about this right now. How do you win a fight, right? You know, they were able to hold them off a little while longer at the inhibitor, but they're not winning that fight ever. There's no chance to really come out on top. Lycro, Bone Skewer goes a little bit wide, but they're just fishing. At some point, something will land, and that will be the end of this game. You have to feel for Fantastic eSports. Drag it up in 30 seconds, but imagine KS will fall back to that and take it, maybe try to fight it in the jungle if they're not able to find an engage here shortly. Arrow almost back up for Zonks. Bone Skewer could be into contention again. Warzar, this could just be the full dive as well. That's M6 going in. He doesn't have the cell division, but he is very tanky. Radovan already taken off of the table. Death from below finds the kill out of the Nidalee as well. Antonio goes down 5 versus 3 right now. Resting in top, going to die to his best dance. You have to feel Air 4 as well goes down. This fight getting a little bit closer than we thought it might. 80 carry taken off the table as well. Zonks is gone. M6 is going to die. It's just Warazar left. A disaster on the dive. Chaos losing out huge in that fight.
Yeah, again, I'm not a big fan of the dives like that. When you have a comp like Chaos have, I was just saying, you know, it's so much easier to just sit back and take the jungle objectives, right? And Baron was up. Dragon was up. And now this is going to be Dragon Soul being donated over to FE, potentially Baron as well. These were free objectives for Chaos to get, and Baron makes it so much easier to go for that dive. The mini wave is so much harder to kill. Now Wars are maybe trying to steal the Dragon over the wall, not going to quite find anything. That was definitely a misstep from Kolyevina. I don't think it's going to make the difference, because FE, I don't think Cloud Soul is going to win them the game. And they're not going to get their hands on the Baron, it looks like. So Chaos are probably still going to be able to walk into that Baron pit and take it. But it's a light at the end of the tunnel for FE. They might have a chance, right? If Chaos keep looking for those dives and they don't set up properly, then maybe it's winnable. Maybe.
Teleport coming in. That is Air 4 on the scene. Lycro could be in trouble. Just kidding about that one. Air 4 walks himself away. They can look towards the Baron right now, Chaos, but not a super strong teleport.
Not super strong, but it does mean that he's on the map right away to go ahead and like you said, contest this Baron, which FE are sort of coming back from resets. You see Fnatic running towards the bot lane right now, and he does have teleport, but he's clearing Krugs. I don't think there's any way that FE can contest this Baron, because I was mentioning this before, but KS have such a hard team to walk into, right? Like, if they have vision control, Warazar is going to bone skewer you. Air 4 is going to eat over the wall and stun you up with that frozen tomb. Zonks is going to hit you with an arrow. Like, there's so much pick from this team that you just cannot walk into any champion on KS if you're FE. You have got to seed these jungle objectives if KS are trying to take them. And now, Baron, in the pockets of Fantastic Esports, they still got some mid lane in their mid lane inhibitor down. They're going for a fight. Zizzy just caught out over the wall. Honestly,
Zizzy,
why were you there?
It's gone. Maybe trying to go for a little bit too much. Baron in the pocket of KS on this push. We're essentially rinsing and repeating what we just saw a minute ago. Dive going to come through maybe once again. The tower is likely going to go down. Cell division also available for M6 now. So a couple more abilities available. No flashes for the carries, however. Warazar going in a little bit deep. Inhibitor does fall. That is the top lane. The mid lane down, coming up in about 15 seconds. So might have to just try to cycle that when the bot lane wave is so far away. Chaos, they might get a little bit stuck in the base right now. They might have to go for another play. A nice bone skewer onto Antonio, able to get himself away with the command protect and the dissonance, though. So it looks like Chaos might have to reset one more time before they try to go for anything. Inhibitor could be picked up on their way out.
Reset, get 2 inhibitors. They should be able to get this one. Ooh, Warazar dropping very low.
Gonna be okay. Air 4, though, taking a lot of damage. Has to use the flash. Actually goes for that claw just a little bit early. He's gonna likely be going down. Has his ultimate to buy some time. Schnotty, though, in trouble. Goes into the stopwatch. Don't feel that's gonna be enough to keep him alive for that much longer. He is gonna get taken down by Zonks, who is safe in the backline. Arrow goes wide. M6 into that cell division. Zonks, can he survive the cat? Can for now. Radovan also taking some damage. Jason the hole comes through, but it's not going to be enough. Zonks, the spear goes a little bit wide from him. Antonio not able to find anything. It's just Lycro left alive, trying to get his team through the victory. Autos the ward. That's not what you want to see at all. Can he pick up the kill onto Warzar? A couple more auto attacks. It is the 1,000 gold into Lycro's pocket, trying to desperately defend his base. The members are very low from Chaos, but I don't think it's going to be the 2 versus 4 base defense. Lycro is gone, resting in top, picking up that kill, and it looks like in the end of it all, it is Kraljevina Serbia coming up huge on the day, 2-0, and they take that 3rd seed, setting up a matchup with Lethal Rage.
It wasn't very quick. It wasn't the most clean game ever, but Kolyevina still ending their 2nd game of the day with a 34 kill lead, or 34 kills to 13, I think, 14? I don't know, 20 kill lead-ish over Fantastic Esports. And remember, that was the tiebreaker. Like you said, that means that Kolyevina are not going to have to face off against Lagama until the finals, assuming they make it that far. They're gonna be able to play against Lethal Rage in those semis, which is pretty nice because Lagama are very scary.
Yeah, for sure. They would meet them in the winners bracket final, essentially, if Lagama wins their first round match, as would KS. But yeah, they would have one more chance after that at them. We're going to step aside as we prepare for a bit of a double interview. It's going to be Zonks and Radovan joining us here on the casting desk. After a short break, we'll be right back.
I feel it in my head. My my shoulders, knees and toes, my bones, your music gets me through the highs and lows. My head, shoulders, knees and toes, my bones, you're keeping me from feeling all alone. I've been praying to 1,000 different stars, to 1,000 different arms, till I found you. I've been chasing by 1,000 different hearts, to 1,000 million hours, now I found you. My nights will never be the same again. I got you running through my veins. I feel it in my head, my shoulders, knees and toes, my bones, your music gets me through the highs and lows. My head, my shoulders, knees and toes, my bones, you keeping me from feeling all alone. You keeping me from feeling all alone. You keeping me from feeling all alone. Let me breathe you, take you down into my lungs, while we dancing to the sun. Now that I found you, you're a part of me, now I can't let you go. You're the heartbeat of my soul, now that I found you. My nights will never be the same again. I got you running through my veins. I feel it in my head, my shoulders, knees and toes, my bones, your music gets me through the highs and lows. My head, my shoulders, knees and toes, my bones, you keeping me from feeling all alone. You keeping me from feeling all alone. You keeping me from feeling all. I feel it in my head, my shoulders, knees and toes, my bones, your music gets me through the highs and lows. My head, my shoulders, knees and toes, my bones, you keeping me from feeling all alone. You keeping me from feeling all alone. You keeping me from feeling all alone.
Take me in slow, breathe me in and let me go. Filling the lungs inside you, and the blackened eyes make my way into your mind. Just to know what you knew. Restless every time we start locking eyes. Lost control. Oh, it's paradise with honesty, but I'm in the dead of the night. Let the darkness take control. Let the darkness take control. Darkness take control. May the darkness take control. Take me in slow, breathe me in and let me go. Sink to your heart to find you. Open up your eyes till you're blinded by the lies, so you can see what you do. Restless every time we start locking eyes. Lost control. Oh, it's paradise with honesty, but I'm in the dead of the night. Teardrops on the floor. The pain is over. Feel the darkness take control.
Welcome back, everybody, to the last day of the regular season, day number 14 here in the Howling eSports League, season number 1. We are done with our games for the day, and we are now joined by Zonks of Serbia and Radovan from Fantastic Esports.
Hello there.
Welcome. Yeah, welcome to you both. Hello there, indeed. I'm going to start with Zonks as the winner of that game. You guys went 2-0 today. You just kind of walk me through how you're feeling. Congrats on the win, of course. Forgot to say that. Just kind of walk me through the 2 games for today, how you guys are feeling, just whatever you want to say about those 2 games.
Well, thank you for congratulations. But we coming into these games, we knew what was at the stakes. We prepared, we worked, we screamed. We had the draft set up, everything, knew our win conditions. And we came up clutch, right? I'm really proud of my teammates. They kind of carried me, you know. And so I'm happy for the playoffs and looking forward.
For sure. We noticed you guys got kind of smashed in the early game, mostly in the jungle. How did you guys, how is the mentality going forward? Were people, tilted? Were people still pretty positive you'd be winning the second half of that second game against Fantastic? Kind of what were your thoughts once the Zach started to fall super far behind in the early game?
They got us surprised there, but we knew what our win conditions are. We knew that if it goes later, we have so many peak potentials, right? And we just kind of slowed a bit early game, trying to farm as much as possible, get levels, and then as soon as team fight started, we just smashed.
Yeah, you definitely did start smashing. One more question is about kind of these days games. How important do you think it was that you had that first game essentially to warm up for the game against Fantastic, right? Fantastic didn't get to play a game. You guys did. How much of a factor do you think that momentum was going into game number 2?
It was huge. We were super happy, but we are obviously not stopping at just playoffs, right? We wanted to secure the 3rd place and then, if possible, secure the league.
Yeah, absolutely makes sense. We're going to talk about the playoffs in a little bit coming up, but I'm going to throw it over to my co-caster Baymax for a little bit of a chat with Radovan.
Thanks, Carl. Thank you, Zox, also, and thank you, Radovan, for being here. It's fantastic. Good game to both of you. Radovan, I'm going to ask you basically the same questions that he asked Zox, but first and foremost, what are your first impressions coming out of that game? How do you feel? What do you think went well? What do you think went wrong?
Well, in the early game, I was surprised that we did those invades. It was kind of good, but it kind of threw me off balance because if I play something like an assassin, it will be good for me. But I was kind of with Oriana, it's kind of weird to go invade that early. It was so weird for me, and it fucked me up. And I was like, okay, we have a lead. Top laner is playing pretty well. I was like, okay, and then we got picked up so hard. I hinted so hard mid with no flash. Pyke had some good roams. They were moving together very well with Zach and Pyke. And yeah, it was just their comp was really good, as he said, with picks. And yeah, we didn't respect any of them.
Okay, I think that's a pretty straightforward answer. Thank you for that. I agree with most of it. I think you guys did do a really good job of controlling the early game. I was impressed with how you guys played around your pressure in lanes early on, but it was disappointing to see the picks come through later because you had such a lead in the jungle. It was sad, but it was good. It was good. You guys, there were good things that both teams did that game. I want to ask you also about sort of the future. Moving into playoffs. How confident are you? Because you are going to have to be going up against Lagama. That is obviously a pretty scary team. What are you thinking going into that? Do you think that you can win?
I don't know. I mean, we didn't practice as much as we didn't practice at all. We didn't play scrims. We didn't do anything. So with today's game, I'm not even surprised that we lost. But going into playoffs, I hope. I mean, we have 2 days, so we won't do much. But at least that we play as a team. Those 2 days against Lagama, I don't know. It depends on the day. If everyone is feeling hyped and ready for the match, I think everyone should. So I hope, yeah. I mean, our jungler is a bit sick. He maybe he maybe got corona. I'm not sure. He will go test tomorrow, I think. So we are a bit fucked on that side. And I think against Lagama we can try. We have a small chance to win. but their mid is pretty good, and if they play Yopa, then they have a pretty good bot lane also. So Ventum will probably choke, and yeah, I mean we have a small chance, but every team can win like any best of 3, so it will be fun to watch.
Okay, I agree. Whatever happens, it will be fun to watch. You guys
Yeah,
are always
sure.
fun to watch. So, thank you so much. I'm going to throw it back to Carl. He might have a couple more things to say, but I think we're just about done here. So thank you, Mr. Radovan. Thank you, Zox.
I do have some more questions. Radovan, one for you, and then I'll get back to you, Zox. From the chat, actually. The chat would like to know why you went Luden's Echo in this game, and I'd have no more parts to that question. That's all I got for you. Why the Ludens?
I don't know, I was thinking about going tier, then I bought like Amplifying Tone, and I was like, why did I buy this? I should have gone for the Mana Crystal. And I got so confused, I was like, oh, whatever, let's go Ludens. Whatever. I was thinking about Hextech GOP, and I don't know, I just fucked up my build. I was like, I was so, I don't know, I was so disappointed in my like laning phase, and I didn't even like think about the game after that. It was so sad. I got so quiet, and I don't know.
Build depression. Sounds okay, good. Well, I guess that's the answer, chat. That's what you're getting for now. We might have a couple more questions for you all if the chat comes up with them in a second. So I'm going to move on to Zox and just talk about the playoffs with you a little bit. Congratulations, you qualified for the playoffs and you got the 3rd seed. You're up against Lethal Rage in that best of 3 coming up on Wednesday. How are you feeling about this matchup? I'm assuming you're relieved not to be playing Loganma. What are your thoughts about that matchup?
We are relieved, but I think both teams, Loganma and Lethal Rage, are similar in skill set. So you're still going against good team. I have the same opinion as Radovan. I think any team can win the best of 3. We have the momentum going on. We'll prepare, and we'll see what happens.
We do have one arguably slightly troll question from the chat. They would like to know when you're going to be playing in LEC, Zox.
That's a legit question, actually. In near future, yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Near
Zox.
future. Can we
You heard it here first. I mean, I would support
it.
it. I would support Zox playing in LEC for sure. So I think that's all the questions we have right now. The chat was not terribly productive on that front, but thanks for the questions that we did get from them.
Not flaming the chat. No,
I'm not flaming anybody. We're all Zox fans here. That's really what we're getting from the chat. But thank you, Radovan. Thank you, Zox, for the interview. Thanks for taking the time, and good luck in the playoffs.
Thank you, guys.
And a friendly reminder, you can check out those playoff games coming your way this upcoming Wednesday. We are flipping the days on you folks. The 26th of August is when these playoffs will commence. It will be Loganma versus Fantastic eSports at 1700, and then Lethal Rage versus KS. Following that game, we're suggesting around 1930, but we could be wrong about that, depending on whether the first game is 2 or 3 games. So hope you will check that out. Should be very exciting. These series, they matter a lot, right? Getting that first win on the board helps a lot in a double elimination setting. Here are the final standings that have been pulled up. Loganma first, Lethal Rage second, KS third, and Fantastic eSports in 4th place. Max, do you have any closing thoughts before we bring the day to an end?
Okay. So, these are the 4, right? This is it. This is the 4. Loganma, Lethal Rage, Kroljevina, and Fantastic eSports. You're definitely not going to want to miss any of these games. I think especially, Kroljevina versus Lethal Rage will be very close. Lethal Rage have looked good, but Kroljevina have looked, honestly, in recent days, like you said, since the roster changes, I think just as good. There's a lot Kroljevina have been doing well. They had some sloppy plays. Like, I think, the end of that last game could have been a lot cleaner. But Lethal Rage, they get a little bit sloppy sometimes too. I think that I think that these finals are going to be, or the semifinals are going to be pretty volatile. Loganma, in my opinion, probably more or less a shoe-in for the win, but anything could happen. I've definitely seen some crazy stuff get pulled out from oh my god, I'm blanking on the team name. Fantastic eSports, FE. Yeah, they can do some crazy stuff. So I wouldn't count anybody out, but especially Lethal Rage versus Kroljevina, I think is going to be a very interesting matchup.
I certainly agree. I think that is really the matchup to watch. I think, Loganma, just to see them in a series play, Fantastic eSports, see what they can come up with. Like our interviewees were saying, anybody can win a best of 3. It's not, definitely closed and shut. So we'll see how that works out. Those games, of course, coming to you this upcoming Wednesday at 1700 is when we will commence. So a little bit earlier because we do have a few more games. I am very excited for them. And, it's pretty much all we got for you today. on behalf of myself, my colorcaster Baymax, and the entire live broadcast crew here at Howling eSports organization, we thank you all so much for watching, and we hope to see you on Wednesday for the playoffs. Good night.
Speed of light. Speed of light.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Speed of light.
Speed of light, I'm breaking down like this ain't nothing new. She wanna kick it, don't skip it, let's say we rendezvous. Usually I don't trick up, pick up like 1 or 2. Them daisies known to be deadly, especially if I love you. I've grown impatient, I'm tired of waiting just for you. If we gon' trip, then we taking trips out to Malibu. My alley-oops, we returning troops from a blowing nuke. A bomb crash and I'm slow asking to tell the truth.
Taking off, yeah, I'll be on my way now. Feel it in the air, cause I'm in a better place now. I never doubt it, no I never doubt it. If you don't like that, leave it where you found it.
Yep. I ain't cutting that pie, I'm saving half for you. Yep. I ain't cutting that pie, I'm saving half for you.
Hey Taylor, I got you. Look, I'm saving half for you cause I got it bad for you. Don't you ever trip about it, we can even passport it. You deserve it, you ain't even gotta ask for it. Life's a marathon and I wouldn't wanna fast forward. And for the love it was back and forth like tennis. Indy down to Atlanta like every weekend. No matter what we had on the schedule, progressing with every pedal. Momentum at speed of light, I need me like 20 medals, yes. Taking off, yeah, I'll be on my way now. Feel it in the air, cause I'm in a better place now. I never doubt it, no I never doubt it. If you don't like